Hello, listeners. It's Old Games Basement. I'm your host tonight, Sinan Zahabi. How are y'all doing tonight? Excellent. To my left, I got Kelly Barber.
Hey, how's it going?
And to his left, we got Grant the Man Evans.
That's me, and my dog is right underneath here.
Oh, yes. Special guest star today,
Yeah,
Lupin the Pupper.
Lupin the Corgi.
The fucking bread of loaf.
Lupin loaf.
And to Grant's left, we got Ross, the big guy, Brentlinger. And you're fired.
Nice one, Ross.
Can't fire me because I quit.
Okay, you can't quit. You're fired.
You can't fire me because I quit.
You can't quit. You're my wife.
Hey, don't make.
I'm filing a divorce.
Don't make
me get Uncle Frank.
Don't make me turn this podcast around.
And to Ross's left, we got Chris, the big man. Blah blah Arvinitis.
Blah, blah, blah,
I cannot talk today. I apologize, listeners.
Nice flubbing that up. But hello, everyone. I hope you're doing wonderful today.
I love Flubber.
That was a good movie.
Flubber.
Now here's the question: do you prefer the Robin Williams Flubber, or do you prefer Fred McMurray in The Absent-Minded Professor?
I have
There's
never watched that one. Didn't watch that one, so I have no opinion on that one.
I have not watched that one either, so I
Sorry,
apologize.
Kelly. I know of it, but I've never seen it.
I need to say.
Philistines, all of
Hey,
you.
it's just like, hey,
okay,
hey,
sorry.
hey, hold on. People love John Carpenter's thing, and that was technically a remake of a 50s one called
Same
The Thing
with
from Another World.
Scarface.
Yeah.
Scarface, the 80s
I know.
version.
I mean,
the 30s movie.
I love the Howard Hawks version. Is great. I mean, the fact that John Carpenter references the Howard Hawks version in the original Halloween, that's where he actually got the idea to remake it.
But like,
Either way, but no, like I'm kind of a cinephile, but I'm not that much of a cinephile. I can't know every fucking movie in
of course
existence. It's like I didn't know Dr. Dolittle was a remake of Dr. Dolittle until like 20 years later.
Right.
Yeah, there's
Same here.
There's actually been 3 Dr. Dolittles now.
I thought there was only 2.
Yeah,
three.
actually, she's right. There is a third one. I forgot.
There's the original one from the '60s. I forget the actor's name.
Oh,
in
yeah,
that
there's
one.
a new
Then there's
one.
then there's the Eddie Murphy one.
Both
And
of them.
A
There's
couple
two-
years
there's-
ago, we had the Robert Downey Jr. one, which was.
but we had 2 Eddie Murphy ones. There was 2 of
Yeah,
them.
there was a sequel, wasn't there?
No, there
Yeah,
was
there
3. There was 3. I remember.
Third was kind of a spin-off with his
Yep.
daughter.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Point is, there are 3 separate Doolittle continuities, I suppose.
Yep, that's
How did
true.
we go from Old Games the Basement to Dr. Doolittle?
I don't know.
Because
He brought up Flubber. That's how
I
it
brought up
started.
Flubber because he said I flubbed it.
That's true.
So blame Chris. It's all Chris's fault.
No, it's still technically your fault because he wouldn't have said you flubbed it had you not botched the intro.
That's true.
is
So you
true.
messed me up, dude.
You
You
started-
messed it
Hey,
up.
You
could-
started that train.
He could have said I screwed it up. I wouldn't have thought of Flubber, but no, he said I flubbed it. Therefore, Flubber. And you
Yeah,
tell
but
me.
But you
you
made the
tell
mistake.
me.
You made the mistake in the first place. Had you not made the mistake, you wouldn't have said anything.
I mean, I could make a mistake. He still didn't need to say flub it.
Bop it.
Is it more
Twist it.
I think
Pull
you're.
it.
I think you're splitting hairs.
Oh wait. I'm
splitting hairs.
I'm sorry, Kelly. I apologize. We're gonna end this because we need to say jar to Grant over there because he
jar
had to
too.
reference bop
Grant?
it.
I did hear
Give me
the bop.
$3 in the
Hey,
jar.
no, I do not. I just think because I actually liked Bop It.
It's a good
It was a
game.
good game.
Yes, but
Good game indeed.
still jar for Grant.
Darn.
Jar for a poorly made reference.
Yes. Okay.
As a quick side note, before we move on to the main topic, what's your guys' favorite board game? Just as like a thought.
Oh, that's cool.
Damn, that's a
Favorite
that's
board
a,
game.
that's a tough one.
Oh
Yeah,
no, not for me. That one's easy. Risk.
Risk? Okay.
Risk.
I played that a couple times.
I-
That's a game you play.
I
when you
will
have-
take over the world and backstab all of my allies to do it. I don't
I played
care.
it one time in high school and I liked it and I would play it again, but I've only played
That's a
it
No,
game you
time.
play when
really-
you have a good day ahead. of you, with nothing to do.
Like Eddie Izzard says, the best move in Risk. Just put all your forces in Australia and then just build up and build up and build
Well,
up. and
really,
build up.
really quick. When we say board game, does it have to be like multi-person board game or like one-on-one? Or does it not matter?
Any board game. Like,
Okay, my favorite, Go.
Okay, yeah, Go is fun. I like Go.
I remember
Oh, yeah.
that one.
I'm not very good at it,
Yeah.
but
It's like chess, but with
Alright.
like
it's
stone.
abstract chess. Is
Yeah.
the best way to describe
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Clue.
So isn't Go kind of like another game? Othello, maybe?
Othello, I think, was inspired by Go,
Yeah, I
but
think so.
like,
They are
but,
very similar.
it is,
but the mechanics
it
are
is,
different.
it is black and white pieces. You
Yeah.
are correct there, but like they're like nothing the
Yeah,
same.
I've never played Othello, but I've obviously played Go.
Because I've played Clue and many different versions of it.
Clue was fun.
Yeah.
I should play more Clue, honestly. I have not.
I just
Just
like playing
don't
more
play the
board
Super
games in general.
Just don't play
honestly.
like the one for Super Nintendo because that game was confusing.
Honestly, Pokemon.
they-
I love Pokemon Monopoly.
Just Monopoly.
Monopoly is a good one.
No,
but
I say specifically Pokemon Monopoly because when you roll doubles, you get powers.
probably
Because,
the only board
you know,
game
they-
I've got the biggest
yeah.
memory with playing as a kid. Sorry.
Ah!
Don't Wake
Sorry.
Daddy. Did anyone ever play that one?
Don't wake your drunk ass stepdad.
Pretty much.
Who doesn't love
See, now I know
Brucey
that
for
I'm-
that one?
What about Crossfire? You'll get caught up.
And you are fired.
I'm serious. That was a fun
That
game.
is a game.
That is a
I'm
game.
dead serious.
No, I know it's a game, but the fact you had to go
Like,
straight to
sing a
song.
commercial.
You didn't need to sing the thing.
The fact you
Yeah. That one's at the end
Actually,
that wins.
I gotta side with Grant on this one. You can't mention that game without singing the song.
No,
Yeah,
look,
Not,
if
so,
you,
not so much the song, but Crossfire!
oh,
Ah.
oh my
Way to
ears.
make the listeners
I'm
deaf.
definitely pitch editing that later.
Yeah,
Wow.
please, please.
For anyone listening
Okay.
with headphones,
Sorry.
we apologize.
Okay, what's called? So, are we redoing our recap again? I forgot.
I think we just go around the table real
well,
quick,
let's
and
just
we'll just say what we've been up to the last.
Okay,
couple
so-
I agree. Let's,
so
about
Grant-
a minute or so each.
Okay, so Grant, you caught up the viral hit, yeah, and you loved it.
Yep, I was reading.
You
Viral
started
Hits.
Lore Olympus.
Yeah, I
And
started.
thanks to you, I actually started reading it a little bit as well.
Yeah,
And
guys,
you're
one at a
enjoying it,
time,
right?
one at a
I'm only up to
time.
chapter 13.
Tell me, is it not enjoyable? Are you not like, fuck, I love it?
Yes. It's like, why can someone really learn to fight from this or something?
Honestly, I've looked it up. Everything you learn is pretty factual. And I'll teach you a move later that you'll see later on in the series, that's for sure.
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
talk about that later then.
Yes, like,
Guys, I'm gonna cut this part right here, but let's have it so like we each talk about a minute, so we're not getting too sidetracked.
Fair enough, fair
Okay.
enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk for 10 minutes each.
no.
No.
I mean, you're going to talk for like a half an hour.
Okay, that happened once. And first of all, it wasn't even a half hour. It was like 18 minutes. Go
Close
fuck
enough.
yourself.
Okay, so anyway, I did that just so I can see the way
Oh, no,
forward.
I figured as much.
Yeah.
What's
Okay.
called?
So just say like, let's go around the room and see.
I was just about to say that, motherfucker.
You're all of you.
All y'all.
Yes.
What's up?
Starting with Chris. What have you done the last 2 weeks?
Well, I started on the anime 7 Deadly Sins and the final season's currently halfway into it. Loving it so far. Gonna be soon start watching Comey Can't Communicate English dub. I heard
Oh, I love Comey.
good show if you haven't watched it.
It's on my list, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In my opinion, for Seven Deadly Sins, awful writing. Worst writing out there. Great character writing, but story writing, awful.
Can't really say anything about that.
Yeah, but overall though, it is enjoyable. But if you're going for like a solid story, please go somewhere else.
I got no other further updates except for the fact that Ross and I saw Jackass last night.
Nice. How was that, both of you?
Hilarious.
Without spoiling too much, what would you say was
mean,
the
you
funniest?
can't really spoil it, Jack.
That's such a great, deep, intricate plot.
I was going to say, there's not really...
Actually, no. I've met a motherfucker that's like, no, all of these things are a plot.
It's actually a reference to the inequality of.
I mean, they did do a lot of
Jargo.
callbacks to older stunts they did.
Yeah. So there's
Let's
some
just say
references.
you will feel glad for the nuts you have after watching this one.
Oh, okay.
I'll leave it at that.
That's good enough to know. All right, so Ross, what have you been up to the last 2 weeks?
I did a lot of adulting. I mean, I just did my taxes this morning. Yay for adulting.
We taxes.
I-
Actually, I do need to get on that. I have all my stuff. I just actually need to call my CPA and get that squared away.
Sounds about right. So
Great topic
Raul,
for a
and-
podcast.
I finally, after yelling at the people, calling them up, got the certificate for that driving class I took. So and rescheduled the test for Tuesday.
Nice.
So hopefully next time we start this, I'll be a fully licensed driver
with a car,
with
Very-
my own car.
Very
There you
nice.
go.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Hooray!
Hooray.
bitch.
And prep myself for the next new big release of Horizon Forbidden West, which me and him will be shut-ins come next time.
If I can actually play it, because it turns out I get the PS5 copy and I have a PS4.
I'm sorry, which game?
Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, yeah, that comes out this month, doesn't it?
Yeah, it comes
Comes
out
next
this Friday.
How did you
Friday,
not
wow.
realize that you had the wrong
Sam did it.
version?
Sam ordered it
Sam
because
did
I
it.
gave up on pre-ordering games. I do not pre-order games for anything anymore. It's either I'll buy it day one, but I'm not pre-ordering it.
Right, that's fine.
Yeah.
It can end up being like terrible on release,
Right.
or at least performing poorly.
Well, because like I'm sick of just giving the companies my money and then they give me either half a game or a shitty game.
Right, exactly. It's kind of
Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Man,
Cyberpunk, it took like a year for it to get even competent
it's
on the
still
PC.
broken.
And
To be-
on the consoles, it's still
To be
broken.
fair, to be fair, the biggest reason for Cyberpunk was because they had to cave into fans, and fans were bitching for
To get
forever.
out
Because
ASAP, yeah.
the fans wanted
And
their
investors.
customizable private parts.
Don't forget about the investors. They're probably like 90% of it, actually.
I mean, the investors are probably a small bit of it, but it was more fans because a lot of them sent so many death threats to
They
the
were
company.
so impatient. It's like fans were getting angry because they were impatient because it was taking a long time to make. And then they rushed the game. It comes out.
They
It's
got mad
broken,
anyway.
and then they got mad anyways. And yeah, I think the fans have to take at least partial responsibility for that because it's
Yeah.
like, you know what? These people, they make this game for a living. This is their job. They're already under a time crunch and financial constraints as it is. You don't need to add more fuel to that fire.
And like,
I would rather a game get delayed by a year and have it working
Right.
than them try to rush it out and it's basically unplayable. This is why I was not upset with how long it took for us to get Kingdom Hearts 3. You know, from the initial announcement in 2013 to
Was it
when
that long ago?
yeah,
Really?
to when it actually released in 2019, that's almost 6 years.
And it was still
6 years of a development cycle. And people are like, what's taking so long? What's taking so long? I'm just like, I'd rather them take the time to make sure they do it right
Yeah.
than to try to go off half-cocked and you get something that's garbage.
Yep.
No, like,
Just
okay.
like we're
well-
still waiting for that Prince of Persia remake.
Yeah. No, what was the development time for Cyberpunk again? Like, 6.
Well, active development probably only a handful of years, 4 or 5 maybe.
Yeah, but like overall though.
They announced it like years ago though.
But so let's say like 7 years altogether.
Yeah, again, it's kind of like Final Fantasy 15. It's
Yeah,
like active
yeah, no-
development was probably like 2-3 years on that.
Yeah, no, like honestly, Final Fantasy 15. Okay, so I'm gonna say this real quick. It'll only take like maybe a minute tops. Like, I was there when it was announced as Versus 13.
Yes,
And-
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, that was
And
still
I-
disappointed.
I was in
She-
college.
And like to this day, it's like when I first got 15 because you know they changed it so many fucking
It's
times.
basically a different game at this point.
Oh, it's a
Look at
whole
Baron
art.
Rex and Kingdom Hearts 3, like you said.
Yeah.
That's basically closer to what it would have been.
Yeah, no, like
Pretty
that's
close, yeah.
essentially what it was gonna be.
Yeah.
Honestly, my biggest disappointment with 15 is they don't have that awesome cutscene from Versus 13 where Noctis comes out of the
at the
castle
beginning, yeah.
and destroys all of those
Yeah,
guards.
there's nothing vaguely like that.
Yeah, no. And like, while I do enjoy 15, looking back now, there's a lot of things I'm disappointed with 15 on. Like,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of
Oh,
things.
yeah.
I'll
That's
still
what
like.
you get with development hell.
Yeah, that's what you get with Development Hell, as well as just constantly changing things. And it's like, why don't you just stick with the original
If we
story?
get Verum Rex, though, at least there'll be some redemption in the world.
Some,
Fingers
because
crossed.
Virum is based off Noctis 100%.
Yeah,
so
oh, yeah.
it's like, yeah.
Anyway.
Anywho, but so it's like that just happens. And honestly, though, another reason why I don't pre-order games anymore. The last game I pre-ordered was Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Not Odyssey, Odyssey.
Odyssey.
Because that's a funny ass video making fun of Assassin's Creed. Anyways, but
One
like,
game Yahtzee couldn't finish.
yeah. And honestly, after playing that game, I was like, you know what? I can't pre-order games anymore. It's just no point.
Yeah.
And when all the collector's editions were announced for Horizon, I was like, wow, I want to fucking order one of those. But that means I had to break my rule.
Right.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
So, like, the one edition I wanted to buy was the Horizon.
At least we know that one should probably be good.
Oh, yeah, no, I love Horizon Zero Dawn. It's one of my all-time
Oh,
favorite
it's so
games.
Yeah,
beautiful.
I would definitely say for anyone listening, when it comes to pre-ordering games, you gotta know to pick your battles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Choose wisely.
I'm very picky when it comes to pre-ordering games. I think the last one I actually pre-ordered was when I got NHL 22, and that's only because I love hockey,
I mean, it's hockey. You know exactly what you're getting.
and I was particularly excited for this new game NHL 22 because it was the first game with the Seattle Kraken as the playable team because they're the newest team in the NHL.
Yeah.
Right now they're in their first season, so
I actually
that's
didn't-
part of the reason why I was really excited for it because it's like, hey, we get the new team. let's take it for a test drive. You
Okay.
know.
Yeah. Honestly, there's only 3 games I've ever been disappointed in to the point where I've returned them, and only 2 of them are pre-orders. I can't remember the third one, which was a pre-order, but one of them was Prototype 2. I pre-ordered
you told
that.
me about that.
Yeah, no, like,
I did not pre-order that, but I did buy it and play it.
well, I pre-ordered it because I love Prototype 1 so much. So it's like, why
And
wouldn't
plus,
I?
They gave you all those really sweet goodies for
Right.
pre-order.
Bio bomb
You know,
buster.
you got all the extra weapons, you got extra abilities, extra powers.
Yeah.
You got that really dank art book.
Yep.
And
But
it came in that special case. And
Yep.
So yeah, that was actually a really good deal.
yeah, until then the game came out, and you're
And
like,
then
wow,
you're
this
is
is
a really bad deal.
like
No,
like,
see, I actually like Prototype too.
no, okay.
Like, it wasn't bad
But-
per se. It's just
It's not as it's like it's okay. It's an okay
If
game.
one didn't exist, it would be a lot more acceptable.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Because like they got rid of half the moves you had in the set in Prototype 1.
Mhm.
And yeah,
They
you
didn't have
got
the
to
tentacle.
they got rid of one power and replaced it with a real power, which that's the one plus I'll give Prototype 2 no matter what. They got rid of muscle mass and and replaced it with tendrils.
Well, and I also liked how they reworked the shield mechanic in 2 as well.
Slightly.
Rather than having to go through the power wheel to equip the shield, you can just press one button and boom, shield
Yeah.
instantly.
But like they got rid of the armor, they got rid of a few other things.
yeah, I was disappointed they got rid of the armor.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
getting
and-
rid of muscle mass and replacing it with tendrils was definitely a good call.
And
Yeah.
no, like again, the biggest thing I'm disappointed with was the story. They made the game super fucking easy, and in the story they were like, "Hey, Alex Mercer, you know how you all? I'm sorry. Hey, you know how you all liked Alex Mercer in Prototype 1? Well,
he's
we're
a bad guy
We're
now."
gonna make him Albert Wesker in this game.
Yeah, spoiler
And a
alert,
pe-
he's now the bad guy. And I'm just like,
And-
wait, what?
He's the bad guy, and we're gonna kind of make him pedophile while we're at it.
jeez.
No, legitimately, because
Why?
so
What the fuck?
So Heller, the guy you play as in the game, is like a
Military.
military, but I think Army or Marines. I don't remember
I
anymore.
think it was Army.
Yeah, probably either military, you know. And so he hears that Mercer killed his wife and kid. So he's like, well, good thing I'm still part of the military, so I'm gonna go destroy all those biomutants, especially Mercer. Hell fucking yeah. That's his catchphrase in the whole fucking game. Hell fucking yeah.
Right.
And then Mercer goes, "Nope, you have my powers now."
Yeah, no, Mercer decides, oh, you're really trying to kill me. Well, I'm going to turn you into me. So it's like, blick, and now you are like me in every fucking way. And so then he finds out through Mercer, by the way, your daughter's still alive. If you want her, then you have to do as I say. Okay, fine, I'll do some of your shit. So mission. Oh, yeah, so I'm going to impregnate your daughter to be the
Now,
new
he doesn't actually say that.
Like,
But it's
not
heavily
not-
implied.
It's heavily
And
implied.
how old is she supposed to be?
She's like 14, 16, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, so.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously. And they literally end the game with a cliffhanger as if there was going to be a third one.
Oh,
Thank-
really? I didn't
Which,
know that.
well, they had planned for a third one, and then Activision pulled the plug on the
Which-
on-
thank God.
You
But
can
no,
almost kind of ignore two at this point.
yeah, no. But like the worst part is though, I found out there were Prototype comics like sometime after that, and Heller and Mercer are best fucking friends in the comics.
And does it follow the continuity?
No, it's a
Or-
completely different continuity.
Yeah, like it follows the continuity in the first game, that's for sure,
Yep.
but not in the second. And it's just like, why would you do that?
And honestly, the worst part about the second game, and maybe it's a good thing that he didn't agree to do it, but in the first game, Mercer is voiced by an actor named Barry Pepper, who happens to be a really good character actor. If you've ever watched the movie Saving Private Ryan, he plays Corporal Jackson, the sniper.
Oh yeah, I love that guy.
Right?
Oh my God, thank you for roping that up to me.
So yeah. And then he didn't come back to voice Mercer in the second one, which I was just like, but his performance is kind of what makes the character in the first game.
Right.
One of
Oh
the best
man.
things about Prototype 1, I mean, if you really wanted to get the entire story of everything, there was the Web of Intrigue.
That's true. I
Mm.
remember that.
Which was really fun because it actually gave you an excuse to
Eat people.
hunt down and murder random civilians.
Yep. And like the best
And-
part though is if you ever accidentally killed one without eating them to get the web of intrigue, it
Yeah,
did,
they would just respawn.
Yeah.
yeah.
You might have to wait a little while, but eventually they would respawn.
Yep.
So
But that was
wasn't
half
any
the fun of-
unmissables in the game.
But then again, that's
Right.
half the fun of Prototype is just running around, just
Yeah, eating stuff.
And the ragdoll
The-
physics.
And the stealth. The stealth
Stealth
mechanic
is
in that
fun.
game is so much fun.
Yeah.
You know, because some of the areas are restricted, so you know, you
Like,
consume,
you eat somebody,
you
and then you
consume
become
like a
them.
scientist or a military guy,
And you
and
are
you
that.
can just walk through completely undetected and be like, I'm gonna end this man's whole career.
And the best part that they added to the stuff once you unlock it was called the Patsy ability.
Oh yeah, like you could totally do something and be like, he's the one, and the military would immediately turn on their own guy and just outright brutally murder him while you walk away like nothing happened.
This was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Literally, a guard saw me kill and devour and turn into another guard, and he's being like, he's him, and I'm like, nope, Patsy.
It was literally he pulled, I think you showed me that clip, he literally pulled an Uno reverse card of, no, you.
But no.
And then the best weapon, like my personal favorite, especially when the airstrikes happen, which happen frequently. Level up the extendo tentacle because it was easy to.
Oh, the whip fist.
Yes.
Oh, I ruined so many strike teams with the whip fist.
Oh my god, right?
It's almost unfair how ludicrously overpowered that ability is.
Because it only had you had your muscles, the hammer hands, you had the claws, you had the sight.
You had the.
They had all these huge ass skill trees. Whip fist 2.
But you only need 2.
That's all I needed because
once you have the grapple ability with the whip fist,
just go by strike teams.
Yeah.
Because you
Done.
can literally do a super jump, use the grapple to go to a helicopter, hijack the helicopter, shoot down everybody else.
In fact, they actually give you an achievement/trophy. When it comes to the strike teams, if you can destroy an entire strike team in less than 15 seconds, you get an achievement called strike. You're out.
Yep.
When did baseball get involved in this?
I got that one by accident. I didn't even know
it was a thing.
Yeah.
And not to mention that thing, like you could be let's say from this table, whip fist, fully extended, use it. Go out the house across the street and take everybody out.
Yeah, like the maximum range. Once it's fully upgraded, the maximum range it's like 100, 200 feet.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah,
it is. It is insane the range on this thing.
And whoever's the final guy you hit, everyone in between, you're going to kick them and kill them as you kick them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like it's just beautiful.
Corpse surfing.
Man.
Surfing.
But no, so my mind was.
We've gotten way off topic talking about.
We did.
Well,
I thought this was like your good Patreon shit.
I thought this was old games.
We've gone.
It is an old game.
I mean, technically,
kind of.
I mean, technically, it's over 10 years old at this point.
Yeah.
It's true. It was like 9 or something.
Yeah, the original was 2009.
Yeah.
And it had to compete with Infamous at the time.
Yeah.
And everyone poo-pooed it because everyone was just like, "Oh, Infamous is so good."
But they were both great.
They're both good though.
They're equally amazing.
Which I still gotta play those games. I still have yet to do.
If you ever want to borrow, just let me know.
Don't worry, I plan to get them eventually.
Oh, I'm saying I don't mind loaning until you get them.
Yeah.
So,
we'll think about that.
Kind of steering us back to the 2-week update because I didn't even get a turn.
Well, Grant didn't even update yet.
We were still on Ross technically.
I'm sorry. So, Grant, tell us what you did in 2 weeks.
Honestly, not a lot.
Okay, moving on.
Just a lot of work and relaxing with the corgi here. I guess just for brevity's sake, we'll move on to Kelly.
All right.
All right. So, for me, I actually have 2 things that I wanted to talk about for the 2-week update. The first is at the time of recording, since I don't know when everyone's going to be listening to this, but at the time of this recording, I've got my birthday coming up on Monday.
Yay, congratulations.
Happy birthday to you.
You managed to avoid dying another year.
You have aged.
How old will you be?
Too old.
Hitting the big 3-0.
Oh,
you
dirty 30.
What a boomer.
So the cool part is I am now less than 2 days away from acquiring my wizard powers, and I will not explain that joke any further. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
If you know, you know, and beyond that, I'm not going to say anything else.
Will you put on your robe and wizard hat?
I might. Don't tempt me.
I'm tempting you.
Temptation.
Do it.
What is it when you turn 40? Do you turn like into a druid or was it?
No, you just become Steve Carell.
Oh, that's right.
All right.
Anyways, moving on. The second thing, and actually leads directly into our one of our topics for tonight, is so one of the things we're talking about is old racing games. Mm-hmm. And I happened to find one of my personal favorites, rediscovered it almost halfway by accident.
Really?
So here's how it happened. So a couple of days ago, I was like, hey, I wonder if anyone ever put up any recording footage of Star Wars Episode 1 Racer from the N64,
Great game.
also known as the pod racing game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love that?
So I was like, hey, I wonder if anyone ever uploaded any old footage to YouTube, just for a laugh.
Just for fun.
Little trip down memory lane,
Yeah,
right?
sure,
Because
sure.
I played that game all the time as a
Yeah,
kid.
I
right?
did
Me
too.
too, actually.
Pain in the ass.
It can be. So one guy, I forget the channel's name, but actually did a video. He's like, this is the toughest track in the entire game. And then he talks about it. And he's like, oh, by the way, this... And I'm watching this. I'm like, wow, this is really good footage if you captured this off an N64. And he's like, oh, by the way, you can totally get a remastered edition from PlayStation Store. And I'm like...
Wait, what?
I'm like,
Yeah.
excuse me?
You didn't know?
Whoa, hold on a
No.
minute. You didn't know this?
Don't quoi?
I don't know this.
I knew this.
So...
I'm cool. Ha ha ha.
So
We
sure,
will be talking about this later.
So sure enough, I go to PlayStation Network, and not only was it available, but on the day that I happened to look at it, it was on sale. I got it for like $10,
Nice.
completely remastered with trophies
Nice.
for certain accomplishments, and I'm
deal.
just like,
The PS2 sequel's on there as well, by the way.
the PS2 sequels.
It wasn't as good. No.
Racer Revenge.
Yeah.
Like I actually got both of them because I figured why not 2 for 1, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Garbage.
Cleared the first game. I still had all of my skills. I mean, I had to remember some of the track layouts because it'd been a hot minute since I played.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, right.
But once I found my groove, Go to play the second one, the sequel.
Mhm.
The sequel is hot garbage.
It's definitely a
It
step down.
controls like... Ross, I'm going to be kind of mean. It controls like what would happen if you tried to push Ross down a water slide.
Gosh.
Actually, I've done that before.
He has done that.
I have done that before. It's not that hard.
Did you try to steer, though?
Yes.
You steered Ross down a water slide.
Yeah, we were in a two-man tube.
We were.
How on-
And then I fell out of it.
Oh my god, I forgot. That was
We were
hilarious.
in the giant.
Oh my god.
No, okay.
No, okay, so this
We were at,
motherfucker.
where were we?
Kalahari.
It was Kalahari. There
Oh,
was the
no.
one where it's a 4-man tube. We had the 4 of us,
Oh!
and we hit the final dip.
No, so we had the 4, but it's only the 2 of us in it. And this motherfucker.
We hit the final hill. Somehow, because I could barely get. I had just enough seating to get in there, but I wasn't getting that greatest of the seating. I got knocked out of my spot. All the lifeguard sees at the end of it is him coming out, my 2 hands holding onto the handle of the tube. And they're like, oh my God, bro. I'm like, I'm laughing my ass off the entire time. Just because I can imagine just the lifeguard freaking out just seeing my 2 hands. And me
Anyways, but the steering controls in Star Wars Racer Revenge
they control like ass, apparently.
they are a significant step down from
You're right.
the first game.
I played it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That being said,
I'm
the
sorry.
first game
Kelly, I'm
still
sorry.
holds up really well. It's
It does.
a beautiful little gem of the game. Now, granted, with the HD remaster, you can still see the polygons.
Yeah,
But for the most part,
it's still the better game.
the
overall.
physics are still really good. The controls are simple.
Mhm.
But there is still a little bit of skill that needs, there are some tight corners where you need to know how to power slide.
Yeah,
Which, yes, you can in fact power slide a pod racer.
there's definitely some skill involved in the
There
first
is
game.
there is definitely some skill involved and a little bit of luck. For example, the toughest track in the game, the Abyss,
Mhm.
where if you do not stay on the top level of this 2-level track, you are almost guaranteed to lose.
Yep, I know exactly. Yep.
You are almost guaranteed to lose. Now, here's the cool part. Having not played the game for at least 10 years at this point, first try, beat the Abyss.
Nice.
First
You
try.
beat the Abyss. That just sounds
Awesomeness, dude.
On the first try.
Awesomeness.
I was even surprised myself. I'm like, oh God, don't fall off the top. Don't fall off the top. Like, I was sweating bullets this whole time. I'm
Yeah.
like, and then across the finish line, I'm just like, holy crap, did I just actually do that? In all the time that I've played this game, I've never been able to beat that track on the first try.
But
And
you did.
after having not played it in about 10 years, I'm just like,
the fuck? Wait.
am I the chosen one?
You've just gotten a lot better over 10 years.
My racing skills have certainly improved.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I've even actually almost come close to platinuming the game because there, like I said, it has full trophy support and most of the trophies are easy to get.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I have to do is I have to buy all the best parts
Yeah.
from Watto's junkyard.
That could take a while.
And once I do that, boom, I'll have the platinum. I've done everything else that you need to do to get platinum except that.
Cool.
Yeah, that was pretty much like a little preview of what we're going to be talking about here.
Exactly. Good way to lead
That-
it.
that
We'll
is-
return to that game.
That is a
in
great.
moment.
That is a great preview. But I'm sorry, I need to say this now because we were talking about Ross falling off the fucking floating.
Yeah.
So
We were like just dying for like 2 minutes.
He's got something
No.
else to say. I can tell.
Okay, so we went to Colossal East. So we were at the fucking.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. I know where we're going with this.
Oh
one.
shit!
So
dude.
we were over at the Kalahari over in Pennsylvania, and so our
It wasn't me this time.
no, it was Tara.
She did the same thing.
No,
Colossal Prime.
Okay, so at Colossal East, she
She was the one foreman with the really tall wall.
yeah, the really tall. Well, man, it was a good drop. It hurts like fuck, but
It
it's a
does.
good drop. No, so Tara's wearing contacts in the water park, which is always a dumb thing because chlorine and contacts.
Yeah.
No, and fucking to this day, I will call out you are stupid. Could have worn your goggles,
what
could have worn your
happened.
glasses, or
Something.
whatever. But then I
Or you
would.
could have just went blind.
Yeah, no, so like fucking it's just me, Ross, and Tara in the fucking 4-man floaty and whatnot. And so Tara, she has like one hand on the grip, the other one, which should be on the grip, is like blocking the water from getting her eyes.
Yeah.
So fucking when we do the final drop, his fat ass causes Tara to bounce out, and because she only had one hand, she ends up letting go, and she's sliding all by herself down the whole fucking slide.
Like we're just going. We just go. The drop goes. We're like, we just got lighter.
Yep.
And we look back. There she goes.
The-
There she goes.
There she goes.
then she hit her head and had a cut on her.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wasn't
So-
bad.
It wasn't bad. She didn't have a concussion or anything.
So,
It was just like,
Okay, so it wasn't
as a-
Jackass
yeah,
style.
no, but to this day, I will call out how dumb she was for
That was
being
her
like,
own
oh,
fault.
Yeah,
I
that
don't-
was her
like,
own.
like,
I can't even say that's dumb.
yeah, no, like she
Could
could
have at least closed her eyes.
have closed her eyes or not worn contacts, but then I wouldn't be able to see. That's what we're for.
Yeah.
So
Would close my eye.
No. I'm gonna give him that. I'm gonna give him that. I will give him
All
that
right, fine.
because I probably would have said the same thing.
So, quick sidebar, since we're on water park stories, I do have one really quick thing that I do want to
Okay.
mention.
Tell me.
I do have a water park story of my own that is rather amusing.
Da-da-da.
Ba-dum.
So, 2004, I'm 12 years old. We go to Cedar Point, Soak City.
Ooh, good times there.
So the whole family, me, my mom, my dad, my older brother, all four of us, right?
Yeah.
There's a particular water slide there called Erie Falls, where it's a pitch black tube.
Ah, yes.
You
I love that.
you can't see anything.
Shit.
Except for the few couple of skylights where they dump cold water on you as you pass under
Yep.
the skylight.
Yep.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was kind of a big guy. Not quite as big as Ross,
He's a big guy.
but
He had
still,
some meat on him.
but still a big guy.
Yeah.
Big dude.
He was nice and meaty, plump.
Not as big as Benny.
He was about Sanan size.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big guy.
Big guy.
I'm a
Big
big
boy.
boy.
Dad, unfortunately, did not have a good time in Erie Falls
Okay. This sounds like a good story already.
because Dad got stuck.
Oh!
Oh.
Oh, boy.
Dad got stuck partially. His inner tube kicks out from under him,
Wow.
and he proceeds to take the entire second half of the slide down backwards on his belly.
Oh.
Ouch.
Ow, the burn.
And that's the way he came out.
Feet first.
Feet first, on his belly.
Oh, man.
Ow. Ow.
That's just
Oh, the
sounds
burn.
painful.
And he was like, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
I don't blame him, dude.
There's only one thing about this trip that's worse.
Your brother?
God.
No.
But your brother not being a piece of shit is
I think this was way before his brother was being an awful person.
Anyway.
fair enough.
Let's hear the story.
So you all know the wave pool at Soak City, right?
Yes.
Oh,
I
God.
know that
Oh,
wave pool.
God.
It's a good wave pool. But if you're not ready for the swells, they can
Smack.
knock, they can
They
knock,
can knock
you,
you-
they
yeah.
can knock you off
Yes, they can.
balance.
Yes, they can.
Yep.
I happen to be in the wave pool next to my mom.
Uh-oh.
Mom gets knocked off balance.
Oh boy.
Mom falls.
Uh-oh.
Mom reaches out and flails for the thing closest to her.
Oh God.
Guess who that was?
Oh,
You
That was-
were you pantsed?
I wish.
Oh God. Don't tell me it is what I'm thinking it is.
Being pantsed would have been an acceptable alternative than getting dragged under and held down as my mom balances pushes off of me to stand up
Oh,
again.
shit.
I literally open my eyes, see the water, the surface above me, and think to myself,
This is how I die.
"This is how I die, drowned by my own mother."
Oh, so you
And keep in
get,
mind, I'm 12 years old when this is happening.
Yeah.
Oh,
you got the-
So I'm
damn.
kind of freaking out.
so she
Wait,
got
Kelly.
no crab in the bucket.
Kelly, I love you and all, but are we sure that was an accident, not her intent?
No.
Considering my dear sweet mother, I love her to death, but considering that this woman has a very low sense of spatial awareness, I accept that it was an accident and she just didn't realize it.
When it comes to him, I would say yeah. If it was his brother, no, I consider it intentional.
You know what? I'll take
as a premonition to knowing what he's going to be like.
I'll take you up on that. I'll take you up on that.
Wow.
So yes, nearly drowned by my own mom, completely by accident. Because when I finally managed to pop back up above the surface, she's like, "Where were you?" I'm like,
I was under the water.
"Mom,
dying.
Mom, I was under the water."
Under
She's
you.
like, "Wait, that was you?" I'm just like,
Yes.
"Were you expecting it to be some other random kid?"
I was hoping.
Like, she was, admittedly, she felt bad afterwards. She's like, oh my gosh. And I'm just like, and I'm, as much as a 12-year-old can stand there with a completely stone-faced expression and just the disapproving glare, as much as a 12-year-old can have a disapproving glare, that was the look I was giving her. Now, of course, Dad was off in another part of the park when this happened, and when I told him what happened, he, of course, was laughing his butt off.
Of course.
He thought it was hilarious.
Well, yeah, no, he just got done scraping his belly. He needs something like that.
So actually, this was actually before that happened. So
the same day.
So
Yes.
this all happened the same day. So
Wow.
karma struck swiftly and without mercy.
As she does. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
God.
Dear
that-
Lord.
That is the quick story of my Soak City adventure, and part of the reason why I have not been back in 18 years.
That's right.
You're afraid it's gonna happen again, aren't you?
That and just Soak City's meh.
Yeah, Soak City, it's great
For when you're younger.
it's great when you're 12 years old, but when you're pushing 30,
Not so much.
I gotta agree with you on that, dude.
I mean,
I've gone to
time
Soak
I
City
was-
with my mom a couple times. It's starting to get. It's actually
Hell,
gotten boring for me
The
over
one,
the years.
like the
Yeah,
last
that's
couple of
what
times
I
I remember
was
going to, one time I went with family, I saw my cousin get shit on by a bird,
Oh wow.
which
fun.
was hilarious. And then while I was eating lunch, I saw an idiot lose his hat on the Magnum.
Well,
I just
Yeah.
because it's right there where that little dip happens. I
Yep.
just see a flip. I'm like, ha ha, you're an idiot.
yeah.
But anyways, pivoting back to racing games.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
we probably should move on to the main
Yes,
topic.
yes,
Since
okay.
We're gonna be talking about racing games
And
today,
some puzzles.
And post.
And some puzzles.
So,
but also to go back to Star Wars real quick. Like it is also on pretty much every major platform aside from the PlayStation. I'm pretty sure, in case everyone doesn't know, Limited Run Games actually did do a physical release of the game first, and then now all of a sudden it's found everywhere. I went with the Switch version because I come to find out when you're playing with the Joy-Cons, you ever play that arcade racer version?
Yeah, the arcade cabinet where you actually have the independent control sticks. Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty
Yep.
much think those put into the Joy-Cons, and that's what you get.
Not bad.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
not bad.
it's very similar with the twin sticks on the DualShock. Your left stick controls your steering, and then your right stick actually controls your attitude of the vehicle. So,
Yeah.
the trick where you could flip it on its side,
No.
that's done with the right stick. The trick where you push forward to activate the boost, that's the right stick. You pull back for brakes, that's all done with the right stick, and then the left stick is your primary steering if you get the PlayStation version.
Now, if
so,
we're gonna talk
very
about-
very similar feel.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going off on fun arcade racing games with cool controls with boosters.
wait,
One of the best ones.
I'm sorry, really quick. I know we're trying to talk about games right now, but my brain can't stop thinking about Ross falling off the fucking floaty. I'm just saying, I just keep. And then now I'm thinking about your dad
Focus.
too. It's hard. It's so
Focus.
fucking funny.
Focus.
Anyway,
Yoshi.
Steven.
Oh, hey, look, there's a loaf of bread.
There he is. Yeah. Anyway, okay, now we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yes,
Okay,
leading on from that, cool arcade racers.
Arcade racers.
One of the classic racers.
One of
Besides this one that he's holding, we'll get to that one in a minute.
It's another
We're
one.
gonna
of
get
mid-
to this one.
Yeah.
We're gonna
But it
get
is
to that
another
We
one.
will
one
get
of
to
mid-
this one I'm holding in a moment.
We'll
which
tell
the
you what
camera
it
will
is,
see
but
soon.
you're gonna have to hold.
It is another one of Midway's finest, though.
Hydro fucking Thunder. Man.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
Hydro
god
Thunder.
damn it, Hydro
That
Thunder,
is an
yes.
arcade classic unit, and I would love to own that cabinet.
That throttle with the boost button.
Yes!
It feels so good. Plus, it also teaches you how to do one-handed driving.
It does.
You gotta
Yes.
You got to keep one hand on the
that-
wheel and one
that
hand on the
boost.
throttle.
Yeah.
Because
And that
there are
was a
certain
game-
tricks that you got to be able to tease the throttle with,
Which you were doing last week.
which I was doing 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But it's a different feel when you're doing it on the console versus the
Oh,
cabinet.
of course.
Unfortunately,
Obviously,
yes.
Yeah, the cabinet's always gonna be.
I mean,
10
it's
times
gonna
better.
it's because the cabinet you get that little clunk whenever you get the good jumps, and
Yeah.
throwing.
Good jumps.
It's got that rumble.
And
Yeah,
of course,
something that a console can't replicate. Unfortunately.
Exactly.
and of course, I discovered Hydro Thunder with the cabinet because back in the day at the Fulton County Fair, they used to have an arcade tent in the Midway where they would set up cabinets.
Yeah.
And I happened to be going through there. I was like 9, 10 years old, and I see this Hydro Thunder. I'm like, what is this?
What is-
And then I look at it, so I was like, wait, they made a racing game for boats?
That's right.
I want to try that.
Yeah.
'Cause they got the-
I lost so many quarters to that machine. I easily went through $10-15 in quarters on that
Sounds
thing.
about
You
right.
fell in love that day.
I really
Dude, you
did.
have no idea.
It was so good.
And
It
it's
was
so fun.
It was so choice. And
It
then
looks so pretty.
and then the best part was right next to it in the tent was another classic arcade cabinet racer. Some of you may know it, some of you may not.
Let's see.
18-wheeler
I knew
American
you were
trucker.
Gonna say that one.
I don't remember
for some
that one.
reason.
I'm not
18-wheeler
familiar with that
American
one.
truck. It was literally think big rigs, but if they actually managed to finish the game
Yeah, and,
Oh,
and on
okay.
steroids. for that
and on
matter.
steroids with a pretty banging
It was,
soundtrack.
it was pretty ridiculous.
But yeah, American Trucker 18-wheeler was literally a semi-truck racing game where you had to try to get your cargo from point A to point B. And so the fun fact was, going back to my dad really quick, my dad actually was a professional truck driver for 15 years.
Awesome.
That was his career. And then he had to medically retire because he had heart problems.
It happens.
He sees this game because he was with me when I went into the. Because obviously 10 years old, your parents aren't going to let you just wander around anywhere,
Right.
Or at least
Well,
they're not supposed to.
Not anymore.
No.
Maybe back then.
Yeah, today's a different story.
Yeah, today never, but
So, anyways, my dad was with me because we were just looking for time to kill.
Yeah.
He zeroes in on the cabinet for 18-wheeler American Trucker, and he's like, "You got 2 quarters left?" I'm like, "Yeah, Dad." He's like, "We're gonna try this." Those 2 quarters in, and you know that classic arcade trope of first place gets you a free race?
Yep.
yeah.
Yes.
That pretty much all racing arcade games had.
Would you like to know how many free games he
Oh,
won?
God,
A lot.
Probably quite a few.
Try about 6 in a row.
Wow.
Good lord.
Oh, that's good. And that was
That's
first
good.
time he did that, right?
To the point where we had people starting to
Form. You had a
Like
crowd.
watching.
we had a
That
crowd
good.
coming in, and my dad, like I said, professional truck driver, he's just jamming gears and steering because the game, all the routes are based on real routes across the
He's
United
probably-
States.
He probably rode some of those.
He drove a lot of those
Yeah.
routes, so he knew where he was going. Like he didn't even worry about the mechanics of the video game. Like he's just like, oh yeah, you got to go here, and then there's gonna make that turn, and then it's like, oh yeah, if we're in this neighborhood, you're gonna make that turn. Like, and he's just cruising. He's. I mean,
I think the only thing you really needed was a horn and a CB radio.
well, the cool thing is, in the arcade cabinet, they actually do have a horn.
Nice.
Really?
Unfortunately, it's not the traditional overhead pull cord. It's
Boo.
just it's on the steering
Boo.
wheel, which he's like, that's inaccurate.
Yeah, because every big rig truck always has the pole.
But he
And I-
destroyed that game.
I believe
He
probably had his-
he proved he was the master that day. And so yeah, that's just fun
father-son bonding moment.
father-son bonding moment, and it also happened to involve video games too.
Yeah.
It's like, what
I'd
more
say that
can you-
deserves a round of applause right there for that story right
Talk
there.
about old games.
I can't think of anything better.
Oh, that was some good
That's
stuff.
pretty good.
And
For me, some of my classic memories playing racing games were like the ones where you could actually get on the vehicle or in the vehicle. Like one of them was Hang On. Did anyone ever
Super
play
Hang On.
Yeah, yeah. At the
With the
arcade.
motorcycle?
Yep, yeah.
Yeah, because this old bowling alley I went to in elementary school, Interstate Lanes had one of
Yep.
those.
Major Magic, or no, Chuck E. Cheese, I think, had one over back when I was a kid.
Might have.
Yeah, and that was technically the first time I, quote unquote, got on a motorcycle. I ride motorcycles just on the side. But
I do miss Major Magics.
yeah, Major Magic.
Yeah.
Was cool.
Right next to QSR.
It's one of our
Mhm.
local.
Which last I checked is still in business.
Yeah, somehow QZR is still in business. I don't know how they do it.
Laser
Yeah.
They get
tag.
a lot of money for their laser tag, I bet.
Yep.
laser
But then
tag's the
again,
main draw,
Does
obviously.
anyone even go by their business now these days?
I
Check on
actually,
it?
I actually,
last
went,
I googled, they were still open, but we haven't been over there.
I actually was there a couple of years ago for laser tag. We were there for like 5
Yeah,
hours.
we did go one
Yeah.
time.
Which
No.
we do
Me
need to
and
do
Joe.
again.
That would be
Oh,
fun.
and that
I-
I think,
I
or
don't.
maybe you weren't there.
I was not there because I never played laser tag with Joe. I was there with 2 other friends.
Okay, then probably you weren't there. 'Cause, someone else we knew
Yeah.
was there as
No,
well.
no. When I was
The
there,
last
I was
one I
there
remember
for
doing
like
was
5
my niece was
hours.
having
It
a
only
party
costed
at
like
Major
$20
Magic
too. I was
for
like,
clothes.
damn.
Yeah, no, the last time I got to play QZR, it was my niece had a birthday party at Major Magic before it went down. While they were doing all that, I went next door and played a few rounds, freaking people up, because I'm just going to the girl. I'm just yelling, making noise the entire time and freaking people.
So
You know,
you were
and
that-
And when you see this,
This.
coming
Right.
at
And
you,
you're like 7 years old or something.
screaming like a
Wearing a
wild man,
balaclava and a Naruto headband because fuck you.
and screaming like a wild man. those 8-year-olds had those.
Traumatized.
They
Those
were-
eight, no,
It
those
wasn't 8-year-olds.
Those
It
8-year-olds
was
had,
teenage girls.
That's even worse.
That's even worse. They
Yeah.
had a
Hey.
and that they had a come to Jesus moment
Yeah,
right there.
they- no, one of them actually goes like,
Jesus!
they just see me. All you see is my eyes and going, and they're like, I hate you. And we're like,
Yeah, it's like I'll be honest.
I was trolling that day.
In the dark. If I saw that coming at me, I'd probably have a come to Jesus moment too, where I'm just like, Lord, save me, save me,
Especially when I
help
had,
me, Tom Cruise.
especially when I had
Tom
unlocked
Cruise brought the fire with your witchcraft!
especially when I had unlocked rapid fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I've only played laser tag maybe 3 times in my life, and I found out I'm really fucking good at laser tag.
Depending on which, because I mean,
Yeah,
I
there's
played.
different setups.
Owens
Yeah.
had Owens had several things of laser tag before.
Yeah, no,
Big
I mean,
inflatable thing. That one was fun.
yeah, no. Well, I mean, like I've played laser tag at QZR like once for like, well, technically twice, but like once.
Yeah.
Altogether because it was the same weekend. I forget where else I've played and stuff, but like
one over by where my parents live, Funnigans is what it's called.
I don't think I did that one.
I did that with some friends before.
yeah.
That
I
was
remember
fun.
like they had
Yeah.
various homebrew
Yep.
home game laser tags.
Yeah,
Yep.
I had one of those as a kid. I was
So did I.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like each laser tag I did was different, and like every single one, I won with the most points.
Nice.
By
Nice.
yeah, and like no, like when I did QZR with the other friends and whatnot, I had 8,000 points, and they all had like 2,000 or 3,000
Okay,
each.
now we're gonna finish that. We're gonna come back to Hydro Thunder.
No
here
more
for a
Hydro
second.
Thunder.
No, just racing games.
Racing games in general.
Racing cabinets. I mean,
Yeah,
They're a work of
before
art.
Hang On was awesome because it felt like you were riding a motorcycle.
oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Outrun, another good one,
Outrun.
another classic.
And of
Sega
course,
game.
Yeah.
and of course, we can't go any. We would be remiss if we did not mention.
Super off road.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, I don't know really the game, but I've heard the title.
I was going to say we would be remiss if we did not mention Daytona.
Let's go away. Let's go
Game
away.
over, yeah.
Game over,
The most
yeah.
confusingly happy game over screen you will ever experience.
You
in your
almost want to
life.
get a game over just to hear
Just
it.
to hear
OVER.
game over,
But
yeah.
I mean, Daytona USA, such again a really fun game
Yeah.
for the average layperson that didn't know NASCAR. Daytona USA, that's a pretty good introduction.
Yeah.
Plus, who does not know that theme song the moment you hear it?
And-
Exactly.
and
I mean,
if I had to
it
be,
was
if,
it was one of Sega's best.
if I had to be honest, I do not know that theme song.
What?
I have played
It's
played the
been
game
in my
before.
memory shit.
I have played the game before, but
It's
I
just
don't.
been a while.
But okay, first of all, you stop staring at me like that. You close your mouth for flies flying in, and
I
it's
just
just
have
like
shit memory.
I just don't remember the theme song. I feel like I might have played the game, but I do
That's
not
like-
remember
I
it.
think the theme song in Game Over Yeah are what, like 95%.
I remember
people
Game Over,
remember it
yeah.
for.
Dude,
Yeah.
I don't even remember Crossfire, and people are like Crossfire.
I
I'm
don't
like
remember Crossfire.
because I never played it.
But
I
I didn't
played-
remember the commercial.
Man,
Because I watched real shows instead of commercials.
Shut up.
But I watched the
Dude,
cartoons.
I can't
It was
tell you
even
how
on
many
Fox
times
Kids back
at
in
my
the day.
grandma's
Yeah,
house, I would
anytime
play
commercials are on,
Crossfire
I'd
with all
channel
my
swap.
cousins.
Anyways, let's
Wow.
Bring it all in,
reel
bring it all in,
let's
bring it all
reel
in.
it back in.
Reel it in.
But
Reel it
I'm
in,
gonna
fellas.
go on tiny little sidetrack with Daytona. Fun fact: I think the game was called Fighters Mega Mix.
Oh yeah, I know that game.
You could play as the
The
car.
Yep, I saw that and I was like
Like
dying.
with, it is like the wheel, like it stood on. It was on the
The-
back with the wheel back
the
was the
wheels were
leg,
like the-
and the actual front wheels would punch. It was silly. It was dumb. It was Japan. It was
That's
great.
gotta be one of the
It
best
was-
like
it
secret
was great.
fighters ever.
Next to Pepsi Man.
And going on, branching out from Daytona USA, EA Sports. Now here's the crazy thing.
When EA was tolerable,
For some of you youngins who might not know this, back in the day,
EA actually was good.
EA Sports actually knew what they were doing.
I know. How crazy is
SSX
that?
baby.
And from 2001 to 2004, EA Sports gave us the NASCAR Thunder series.
Oh yeah, I remember those. I forgot about those.
So good. A perfect combination of simulated NASCAR racing with a little bit of arcadey action, a brilliant set of driving controls, and damage physics.
Oh, okay.
It is one of those games where you will deliberately drive backwards just to see how much carnage you can cause.
All right.
My friend
And a
had
great
that game, but I
and
never did.
Another great story that I have from NASCAR Thunder 2004, which I still own a copy of.
Awesome.
By the way.
That's
Nice.
cool.
This was a once in a lifetime glitch, and I wish I had filmed it because I've only ever done it once.
I love weird game
It's
glitches.
I've never been able to replicate it, and the only other witness that I have is sadly no longer with us.
F in the chat, boys.
So, I boot up NASCAR Thunder 2004. I decide, hey, let's go to Homestead Speedway in Florida. That's a nice, simple track, nothing too crazy. Hey, let's drive backwards and cause some chaos. Again, nothing too out of the ordinary at first.
At first.
Driving backwards, wrecking
La la
cars.
la la la.
It's technically not even the race. I'm literally just in practice mode, waiting till as many cars get on the track as possible and then start wrecking them, right?
Yep.
As I'm driving backwards, I'm in between turns 1 and 2 on the track. I set up for what seems to be a very stock standard head-on collision, right?
Yep.
Nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing is amiss.
Moving along, nothing to see here.
Exactly. The head-on collision occurs, and by some strange quirk, twist of
The
fate,
glitch gremlin struck.
something went funky in the code at that moment.
Uh-huh.
The minute the head-on collision occurs, my car proceeds to launch straight up in the air
All right.
and ricochets off the Goodyear blimp.
Wow.
And then comes crashing back down
That is amazing.
and does about 6 or 7 barrel rolls through the infield.
Well then.
I don't know how it happened. I don't know what caused it, and I've never been able to duplicate it. And this happened like 15 years ago, and I've never been able to recreate this perfect storm of circumstances that allowed my car to pinball off the Goodyear blimp and go flipping through the infield like it was in Star Fox.
Honestly, if it didn't hit the Goodyear blimp, it wouldn't have been even close to as funny. But the fact that it hit the Goodyear blimp,
It came back down.
that's just what,
Which the
that's
game
what
has,
killed me
the game has the assets to render the Goodyear blimp.
Yep.
It's a background
Yeah.
thing. You're not even really supposed to notice it because who's looking up while playing a
Right.
racing game?
Yeah, not too many people.
It's really only supposed to be something that's just window dressing.
yeah.
And somehow,
You found a way to hit it.
Yeah.
and like I said, it only ever happened once. And the only other person who saw me do it was my dad, who unfortunately is no longer with us.
It's
Rest-
about the
rest in
statistical
peace.
probability of throwing a fastball and hitting a bird.
It really felt like a Randy Johnson moment, yes. And so, that is probably that is, without a doubt, the funniest thing that happened to me in NASCAR Thunder 2004. The second funniest thing
Oh,
There's more.
dear.
was when I pulled off what I simply call the ultimate brake check.
Oh God, what happened?
So, I boot up the game. I select Talladega Superspeedway, which is the biggest, baddest, fastest track in all
Ricky
of NASCAR.
Bobby.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yes, Ricky Bobby
Talladega
forever.
Nights.
If you ain't first,
you're
you're last.
So, Talladega is known for high speeds and pack racing, where cars are 3-4 wide, going almost 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I decide, let's cause a little chaos. But not in the traditional way. No.
Oh no!
I had something extra special planned for this, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to
You
actually
were feeling
accomplish it.
extra trollish that day.
I was feeling extra trollish that day. I get out to first place. You know, again, everything seems fine. The computer has no idea that I'm about to end its entire career. While in first place, just coming up to the start-finish line, I throw on the brakes. We then proceed to see about 30 or so cars piling. You know that scene in the Blues Brothers where the Chicago police
Well, which one?
all just kind of form this giant dog pile of automotive chaos and carnage?
It's like, excuse
Yes.
me, what car are we?
Imagine that, but it's NASCAR. As you just see this pile of about 30 stock car racers just all just into each other. Panels of sheet metal are flying. There goes a tire. There goes the whole car. There's fire. Mistakes have been made. Feelings have been hurt.
Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria.
You probably ended a few lives.
One car gets launched all the way across the track into pit road. There goes the grandstands. There goes victory lane. There goes the pit box. The National Guard has been called. I have just committed the NASCAR equivalent of an act of terrorism. And you know what makes it? And you know what makes it all the better?
What?
After all that happened,
You still got him first.
I still finished first. I literally just drive off like nothing happened. If that's not the ultimate hit and run story, I don't know what is.
Oh,
I hate to imagine if that ever happened
That
in
was
real
good
life.
shit.
In real life, I feel like you probably...
You'd go to jail.
Yeah, at the very least, disqualified from everything racing ever.
Oh, for sure. If
yeah.
someone actually did that in real life, banned. Just completely banned for life.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
done.
But that would have
You're
to
not
be.
even allowed to set foot in a racetrack
Yeah.
ever again.
But that'd be if let's say you're on your last strike, you're gone for good.
Fuck it.
And go out with a bang.
just when you
A literal bang in this case.
Yeah. Actually,
you
better
reach
yet.
that
and if
level
you-
of fuck it.
And if you know, you're gonna probably go to jail after this.
Right.
All right, so Grant, what's your favorite racing game?
Of all time?
Or like top couple, you know?
Well, let's see. So, one of the classics, and I've got some stories for this one, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, do go on.
We've talked about this. Diddy Kong Racing, which is...
Oh, that's a good
which is,
one.
in fact, definitely better than Mario Kart 64. And I will,
Subjective
I
to
will-
person to person, though.
Yeah,
Spicy take.
and
That
I
is
will
complete-
metaphorically
that is
fight
completely-
anybody
yeah.
who says that.
Spicy take.
in the comments
Spicy
section,
take.
you can debate Mario Kart Diddy Kong.
Yeah, exactly. But,
Keep your hands clean, please.
no throwing crap like actual ape would. But anyway,
Pretty
I
sure
like-
Diddy's a monkey, though.
He's
has a
100%
tail.
a monkey.
He has
Yeah,
a tail.
DK's the
Yeah.
He
ape.
definitely has a tail, which
yeah,
makes me...
Well, yeah, but...
How is he even related to Donkey Kong if one is an ape
Yeah.
and one is very clearly a monkey?
Well, you gotta remember, Donkey Kong is literally a dumbass, like easy to manipulate. So either Diddy was like, "Yes, I am an ape too," so he's like, "Okay," or he felt sorry for Diddy because Diddy was a baby with no home,
Yeah,
so
you
he's
know,
like,
I
"You know what? I'm gonna
don't
adopt
know.
you."
I mean, that's true. He could be. He could be.
I mean, we're
adopted.
kind of trying to figure out the backstory of a virtual.
Because
of
wasn't
a virtual
he
simi.
his nephew? So couldn't you say that like they adopted this ape? Like I don't know. Doesn't matter.
we're
getting
trying to
really
figure
off
out-
track
We're getting way out.
We're talking about the Donkey Kong lineage here.
There is
We're
nothing-
talking about
You
racing
could.
games.
You could say we got off track.
Except
that's a great
Funny joke.
that is an acceptable joke.
That
It's
is very acceptable.
a good pun related to the topic. It is
Yep.
acceptable.
Yes.
Now we
are
gotta
acceptable.
get back on track.
Yeah,
Yes.
so getting back on track, Diddy Kong Racing, I grew up with that game a lot as a kid. And in fact, that was one of the few games my dad actually liked to play. He normally doesn't like to play many video games, but I just remember I think it was like 2 hour delay or something I had. My dad wrote me like a note when I woke up from school that day, and he says, "I have broken all of your time trial records in Diddy Kong Racing. Good luck beating them."
That is some trolling. Right?
Yeah. So
That is prime trolling.
That is
and
assholery.
again, I was like 9, not even like 8 or 9.
So it's like a criminal offense.
I was
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, it's on." And
It's one of those things where you're just like, Mom,
Dad's beating me.
Dad's being a jerk and playing my game better than me. Like, how do you defend against that?
You don't. That's why I had to beat every single one of those, and I
And it's
eventually
like,
did.
Wait. I need to stop this right now and say something. I have a loaf of bread next to me.
Awesome.
Lupin's down there.
Yes, he is.
Lightly toasted.
He probably isn't in the camera, is he?
No, he's not.
I would. If you want to turn the camera down the loaf of bread.
He too small.
Yeah, no, he's fine where he is.
Yeah.
He's
All right.
not
Okay.
causing trouble. He's fine.
Anyways,
He's a good boy.
all right. So I'm done with that update. Continue.
Yeah. So yeah, Diddy Kong Racing is just a classic racing game. I liked how
Because it
it
wasn't
actually-
just kart racing.
I was gonna say it had
Hovercrafts,
and the
airplanes.
planes,
Yep.
yep. And
Like
Oh,
all
yeah.
the stuff Mario Kart's
And it
starting
had
to
a-
do now.
And they had an
Yeah.
adventure mode with boss battles. Which
An
was
actual
Frickin'
cool.
whiz pig.
Actual
Yeah.
storyline.
That pig is a
that pig
cheater.
is a cheating piece of
Yep.
shit.
We got your 4 worlds, the Dino Domain,
Yep.
and
Well, there was the space world too, so
yeah,
there's 5.
technically 5, which is the last
Yeah.
one. They're called Dino Domain. I forget the ice.
Freeze's Peak? No.
We'll just say Ice Mountain for now, since I don't remember the name.
I'm looking him up.
Please do.
I-
Actually, the only
Because
2
I was
names
a
I can't remember.
PlayStation.
Future Fun one with the last one,
Yeah.
Dino Domain. I forgot the
Yeah.
last names of the
Domain,
others.
They would always say when you select it.
Now
Every
here's-
time you go into the place, yeah.
Now here's the question: who was your character that you always use?
So-
That's right.
yeah,
Everyone's
so-
got to have their own character.
so
Everyone's got a main.
I liked Conquer and Pipsy
hey-
a lot.
Well,
'Cause
hey,
Conquer
fun
was like
fa-
the balanced
and
one.
that's where we
Actually-
first met
Okay,
Conker,
so-
This
by
one
the
goes
way.
in 2 separate questions, since when you're starting the game fresh, you got 8 characters.
Yeah.
But you got your 2 secret characters,
Yeah,
Drumstick and TT.
Yeah.
3
Honestly,
secret
T-
characters and with secret
Hey,
characters.
so,
are the
TT
same.
was objectively the best character in the game by
Yeah,
far.
I can admit that.
Yeah, but like of my favorites, obviously Conquer, because I love Conquer's Bad Fur Day later on.
Well,
in life,
yeah,
but
'cause that
but I
kept-
liked Conquer because he was like, and I was like, that's me.
Yeah, because Conquer. Well, I mean, it was that game that gave us Conquer, which led to Bad Fur Day.
That's
Yeah.
true.
What's it called? So we got Timbers Island, we got Future Funland, Dragon Forest, Snowflake Mountain, Sherbert Island, and Dino Domain.
Thank
Okay.
you very much for that.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
Whiz
there's
Pig
6
is
of them.
still a piece of shit.
Now,
Depending, well, both times you race him, yeah, he is.
But if
Alright,
we're going
but
to talk
actu-
about cheating boss battles, I'll get to one on PlayStation that's of a boss racing boss battle that was where the guy was a piece of piece of crap.
Oh, if it's the one that I'm thinking of, now maybe it's not.
We'll figure it out when we get to it. Now, what we-
Because if it's different, I have an example of my own of one
Oh, wait.
cheating Mother Hubbard who just like there's no way he's supposed to be able to be that fast.
Really quick, my favorite character to play as was Timber the Tiger.
Ah, yeah,
Same.
Timber was cool too.
Diddy Kong, obviously, for me.
See, I
Secret characters.
Yeah, I always kind of bounced between Timber and Tip Top the turtle.
Yeah, Tip Top was cool.
I like Tip Top.
Actually,
So
Pipsy as well.
Pipsy was
So was Tip Top turtle enough for the Turtle Club?
He wasn't back turtle enough for the Turtle Club.
Okay, well,
cool. And what about you, Ross?
Well, never.
Wait,
I was never in
actually-
a 64. I didn't
Really-
have a 64 growing up, so I didn't get to play much Diddy Kong.
really quick.
But
Played it.
I did play it. Not much. I played more Mario Kart than I did Diddy Kong.
Wait,
so I have no formal opinion on that.
Actually, I'm sorry, Ross. Before you continue anymore, because we mentioned Turtle Club, I have to mention. You guys remember those Car Stereo 1 commercials?
Turtle.
The what?
Turtle.
The Car Stereo 1 commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Fun fact: Ross is in those.
I did one. I did do one.
What? You were
What?
in that commercial?
Yes, back in I'll tell you the story.
No
Oh,
kidding.
wow.
Yes, it was back in 2006. I was watching it one day. They said they were having audition tape. You could
wow.
audition to do one. Well, I was at Canada at the time.
Yeah.
I filmed it there
Wow.
and actually sent it in and everything, thinking nothing of it. I'm like, fuck it, why not? Well, then one day I missed the phone call. Get the message from Scuba Steve himself saying that I won the dang contest.
What?
I actually had to listen to it 3 times and call just to make sure. Like, holy crap! So yeah,
Just to make
Because you
sure,
got a
just to
local
make sure you weren't
commercial.
getting pranked. Yeah.
exactly. No, I got to meet Scuba Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
I see.
Scuba Steve! Dang you!
Pretty much anyone
Turtle!
who's not from this area is gonna be
Woohoo!
like, what the heck is this conversation?
Okay.
We're gonna have to tell what's going on with that.
Okay, so basically, what we're talking about is around here there is a car installation place. It's called Car Stereo One.
Turtle.
And they had some really kooky commercials. And the guy who did most of them, that's most famous, his name was Steve. And he was very silly. And the fun fact, him on TV is him toned down.
Wow.
Because like I said, I got to meet the man in real life.
He was that eccentric.
He was very silly.
Oh.
Hell, just doing some of the crazy crap I did filming it, I made him laugh so hard it bashed his head against the wall.
And interesting little side thing, his whole catchphrase of turtle.
Turn up radio to loudest
Didn't that
extreme.
come from Dana Carvey
Yeah.
or something?
Well,
No, it was actually an acronym.
It was an acronym, yeah. It was turn up
Radio
radio
to
to
loudest
loudest
extreme.
I did not know that. That's
Yes,
interesting.
I did not know that at first. I learned that later.
And then
I thought he was just being like,
it-
derp a turtle.
No.
No. There was actually method to the madness. There was actually
Wow.
meaning behind
Yes,
turtle.
and I got to
No
say that,
way.
and I got to say that in the commercial and do the thing
yeah.
while putting it because when I did it, he gave me his glasses and I actually put it on and said the phrase while wearing his glasses.
Nice.
Yes, and what got him to like my crap. Because apparently a lot of people tried to be serious. Not me. It's like, no. If you're going to do something with Scuba Steve,
You gotta be.
you got to be silly.
You gotta be silly.
And the things I
Yes.
did on my little tape, based on a little thing I did back in 6th grade when I went to Camp Store. I don't know if you guys went to Camp Store, but we all had
No.
a 6th grade
did,
camp.
I did not. No.
Not that.
Well,
one.
it was like basically a week during the winter. We went to camp, and part of the things at the cabin, you had to clean up all the time.
Yeah.
And well, apparently, while doing it, I would take our dustpan and I just start beating the crap out of people, going, "I'm dustpan man."
I can see someone doing that. That's what I'm telling you.
Oh my god!
I give up on life.
Whoa! Whoops.
Whoops.
What'd you
Oh,
know?
wait, you didn't hear. You haven't.
Thankfully, that was empty.
You haven't seen the second character I did put in that tape.
He dropped my empty cup of milk tea on your dog.
Sorry, Lupin.
Well, the other one I did was
gosh.
me being an over-enthusiastic televangelist preacher.
Oh, God.
Which is, I mean, admittedly, it's not as funny as imagine a 12-year-old me with
Not-
like 6 other kids in a small
Yeah,
cabin.
that's not.
bashing people across the head with a dustpan. I'm dustpan man.
Yeah, that's not nearly as good as Dustpan Man.
I don't remember that for a while.
Wow. I can't look at you the same, especially without your mustache.
Oh yeah, I did shave that
Good
off.
shave. I saw that.
All I'm imagining is Ross, the size he is now, waving around a dustpan and
Wearing a really bad bath towel, rubber gloves, and like a bath net.
I was gonna say wearing a cape that's clearly 3 sizes too small for him.
Oh my God.
I mean, nowadays I could do
Just,
that.
just running around screaming, "I'm Dustpan."
I'm dustpan man. You better clean. Bonk. I'm dustpan man. Bonk.
Clean up the
This
trash.
sounds like an unlockable character from like a Saints Row game.
I mean,
I'm Dustpan Man. I'm a sweep away crime.
and I work.
It's like,
with
could
the-
you seriously? Could you? Tell me I'm wrong. Does that not sound like something you'd find in a Saints Row
really
game?
does.
But no,
It does.
well,
Looks
and
like a South
you
Park
want
character.
and you
Yeah.
want to know who my partner is? The Toxic Avenger. Yes, I'm partnered with the Toxic Avenger. It's cleanup time.
Ross,
Yes?
I hate you.
I love you too.
And there's my dog.
Now
Lupin just wanted to say hi.
back to the bit.
Okay.
Well, actually, one little quick thing since you mentioned Car Stereo 1. Fun fact, I actually have a cousin who used to work for Car Stereo 1 for years.
Nice.
I'm not going to mention his name because I'm pretty sure I'm not sure if he wants me to
Yeah, we
mention
don't
him or
need
since he doesn't work
unneeded.
with him anymore.
Unneeded.
Actually, who knows? Maybe Ross knows him.
No.
Nah, I'm not
Probably
going to
not.
bother. But
Yeah.
if he ever hears this, maybe he'll know.
Maybe,
But,
yeah.
okay, now we're gonna go back.
Going back to racing.
Since I can't say much about Diddy Kong and I was more of a Mario Kart, I'm gonna and since I mentioned cheating boss battles,
Yep.
good old racing game back in the PlayStation days, CTR.
Now, see, I was thinking of something
Oh, Crash
completely
Team
different.
Racing
Yes,
game?
exactly.
See, I was thinking of something completely different when you mentioned cheating bosses in racing games.
Well, this
Yes.
one, this guy was, yeah, but you can get to yours. But yes, CTR. Oh, good racing game at the time. They had several different iterations of it. I still say PlayStation 1 is the best. because that's introduced to everything. It even had good old drifting.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talk about, and you had all the good Crash characters at the time,
Oh,
which included
yes.
Crash, Coco, Dr. Cortex, Dr. Brio, Tiny the Tiger.
Actually, Brio was not part of the main roster, if I remember correctly.
Oh, in the original one, no.
No.
In some of the newer ones, okay. But you could play as Tiny the Tiger,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Yes.
little polar bear.
Dingo
there's actually-
Dial, Cortex, Engine. That was my favorite.
And Jin, yeah. The polar bear's name was Pooler, by the way. And then you had the tiger that Coco rode at the time, because Crash Warped had just come out before that, so you could play as that little tiger.
Yeah.
But yeah, the main story behind that was, besides Uka Uka showing up, you had a nitrous oxide. Talk about a cheating boss. The man, because you know how every racer has that little countdown.
Mm-hmm.
He would go before the green light.
I thought every boss did that.
No, maybe, but I know this guy was infamous for it. And basically, you had to hit, and then in order to catch up to him, you had to hit almost every speed boost. Basically, you had to not mess up in order to beat this man while he was cheating.
One of those perfect run bosses, yes.
Yes.
Not to mention, he uses every single item of
Yep.
all bosses before you use.
What about
Yep.
Wizpig?
No, Wizpig, he doesn't use items. He's
Yeah,
just fast fuck.
He's fast fuck and cheats.
Yeah, that too.
Anyway, so what game were you thinking of?
So, the game that I remember being extremely frustrating getting to the final stages of was, I'm sure many people will be familiar with the Need for Speed series.
Yes.
Never heard of it.
One
Which
game-
version?
I've only played in probably 1 or 2 games of Need for Speed.
So, Need for Speed for Sinan, since he's clearly the uninitiated.
Oh, I was making a joke. Sorry.
It's
Sorry.
basically think Fast and the Furious.
It's
as a video
basically-
game.
No,
it's
I
basically
know,
street racing,
I know Need for Speed. I was just making a joke on, like I was trying to be sarcastic. I apologize.
And you failed.
Yeah. So, one of the iterations of Need for Speed, which came out for the PS2 in, I think, 2005, 2006.
No.
Pro Street.
Oh, are you talking about Magnus Walker?
No. So, Need for Speed Pro Street. Very simply, it's sanctioned street racing. You start at the bottom of the barrel and you got to work your way up to the top of the series, right?
Sounds like Most Wanted.
And along the way, you have to go head to head against some of the best in the business.
Yeah, that happens.
And there are 4 primary disciplines.
Natural.
There's drag racing. There's what they call grip racing, which is basically your standard circuit racing.
Drifting.
Drifting, and then speed runs, which are literally sprints where you push your car as fast as it can go
Before it explodes.
and have the most spectacular wrecks. So you work your way up through each series, doing a mixture of these events, and then finally you get to take on the elite teams in each of the 4 disciplines. Now, once you clear those, there's one final team that are supposed to be the best at every discipline. And you got to take them down one by one, and you finally get to their leader, a guy named Ryu. This frickin' guy, easily one of the most cheating AIs I've ever seen, because there'll be times where you are going full out, and I had my car tuned to be specifically optimized for certain events, and I'd be cruising, and all of a sudden he just blasts by like you're on blocks, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, but the car you're driving is not physically capable of going at that speed. It's just not. There is no way on earth you should be going that fast driving that particular car. Because in real life, I don't even care if it's tuned perfectly. In real life,
it ain't going that fast.
That car is not able to travel that fast.
Well, that's
period.
That's rubber banding for you.
That's also game development for you. I bet the developers felt like, okay, you want to beat this guy? We're going to make him cheating as all heck for you, and you got to work for this.
I'm sorry, but even with rubber banding and set, that still sounds like a lot of bullshit.
I mean, I did beat him eventually, but it was probably the most frustration I've ever felt playing a racing game. Because usually, racing games, I'm just like, oh yeah, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But that moment, playing Need for Speed Pro Street, I was just like, it was almost controller breaking levels of frustration. It got that close. I was just like, what do I need to do to beat this guy? I finally figured it out. I was finally able to put a perfect enough run together that I was able to beat him. But my gosh, that was peak frustration.
And if we're going to talk about racing games, for it to cause some chaos, I mean, it'd be wrong to not talk about the Burnout series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which some of you folks might not even realize is a racing game.
Yep.
But it actually is.
I mean, it is in the. It's
There's racing in it.
It's a racing game on accident. Accidents. Because you cause a lot of them.
Yes, you do, because that's one of the main features and mechanics of the entire game is to cause wreckages.
Yep.
Or as they like to call them, takedowns.
Yep.
Specifically for Burnout 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, Greg, you've been quiet the last 10 minutes. What is your opinion?
Wow, yeah, I wonder if
It's almost like you weren't even in the
it's
room.
like I wasn't even here taking out my dog to go potty.
Oh, no, that could have been it.
Specifically, the game that got me into that series was specifically Burnout 3.
Burnout 3 was pretty good.
And I first remember seeing it during Animarathon.
That sounds about right.
And there was a
Nice.
demo of it, and I was also there for like a couple of times over a tour when I was at Penna, because we could do this. We'd go there and they have a thing, and they had a big demo unit. And like Burnout 3 each Burnout had like its own racing mode, but Burnout 3 specifically had a specific mode called Crash Mode.
Crash mode, yes.
The
Where
entire
you would fling your car into a busy intersection
to cause as much damage as possible.
And here's the best parts about it. One, in this mode, you have an ability called Crash Breaker, where your car literally becomes a rolling bomb for extra damage.
Yeah.
And the best part is, it's not just a score that calculates what the end result of your crash. This thing literally tabulates your score as an insurance claim and gives you an exact dollar amount
on
for how much damage you caused.
And the crazy thing is, your car could be a mangled wreck. You could still control that thing, how that thing moves, to cause more problems.
By pinballing into other cars.
And getting multipliers.
And getting multipliers.
Cocaine and steroids at the same time.
Always aim for the buses.
Yeah,
So-
or the buses or the trucks.
So
or
that's
the big
their trucks.
tankers.
So that sounds fun as fuck.
And and the best part is, it was every time you were about to crash, slow motion, every time.
So that sounds fun as fuck, and that reminds me of
glorious detail.
That reminds me of a game I used to play back in the day.
Yeah.
And I wish it had that same mechanic, because that just the whole.
I could play that for hours, just crashing.
So I played this game back when I was a kid. Not too much, but I still played it. It's actually banned in a few countries.
Really?
Yes.
I think I know what this is.
Piqued my attention.
I think I know what this is.
It's called Carmageddon.
Yes!
Oh,
yes!
yeah.
I knew it.
Twisted Metal before Twisted Metal.
I
Yeah.
knew it.
And
Metal and,
like
Death Row.
Well,
yeah.
this game was it was racing, but think like racing. Think the movie Death Race.
Yeah.
but
essentially what it was.
But without being in prison.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just kill civilians
Yeah.
over and over again. Yeah, no, it got banned in a few countries unless the developers agreed to do something like turn into zombie
Because there was a version
zombies
of it for
or
the-
robots. Yeah,
I think there was a version for like the PlayStation or the 64.
I don't remember. Like
Carmageddon 64, yeah, I remember.
Like,
that
seeing
was
That was
as,
like horrible.
as I said in the former podcast, since my dad had like a computer company back when I was a kid, most of our games were on the PC or emulated to the PC.
Yep.
So I played it on the computer, and there was an awesome feature to change the color of blood. I did
green.
I did green and blue.
I didn't know. I knew of green because that was basically when the censor they turned everyone into zombies.
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of House of the Dead 1 on the Saturn
Yeah.
right there.
Well,
actually.
the reason, like, there, on that PC version, at least for my, like, when my dad got us and stuff that we were playing all the time, we could turn into green, blue, pink, keep it red, of course, a darker red, and white.
Nice.
Those were all the colors you could change it to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty
And
diverse.
like, I did pink once. I was like, this is dumb. And like 10 seconds in, this is dumb. Go make it a real color.
Speaking of good older games, excuse me.
You are
Good
excused.
little belches, those are
Yeah,
classic.
there was back in the days on the Sega on the Genesis.
Yep.
And they made a version on PS1, which I've playing that one. A good old game called Road Rash.
Oh,
I've heard of Road Rash.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is a motorcycle racer.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds standard, but the fun part is if you come up with some of your own opponents, you can beat them
Yeah.
with chains, whip, pipe, whatever driver you had at the time.
That sounds awesome. Hey, how far are we in this podcast so far, by the way?
We're about an hour, 20 minutes almost.
Ooh, damn.
and you
Making
know
good
what? We still
progress,
haven't gotten to what's on the table here.
That's true.
Ah,
We still
yes,
haven't
the
got-
games that I have brought with me.
Yes.
Let's get to these two games
Yes.
right here, since they're part of the same genre. I got two N64 games with me, which I'll show in front of the camera here real quick.
Yeah.
Cruising USA and Cruising World. These first originated in the arcade.
Yes, they
Yep.
did.
Midway.
And fun little fact. Here was my first experience with these games. You guys don't know, probably don't know this, but my dad used to be in the bar business.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
You told me this before,
Okay.
yeah?
And he was actually the manager one time for the Miscue location, and that used to be on Navarre Avenue, which is
okay.
sadly no longer there.
Okay.
Yeah,
The only one
didn't
left
that
is-
one burn down yet?
Burned down? No, just went under.
Oh, okay.
I know, but I know the other one's still
As
around.
far as I know, sometime
Yeah, the
after he
one
got
on Reynolds is still
transferred.
there.
Yep.
It's just right down the road from me.
Yeah, as far as I
Yep.
know, after my dad got transferred to a different location, that one just went under.
It happens.
Yep.
Yeah, but I just
Oh,
a lot of my times were playing in the arcades, of course, and
Playing
Cruising
that-
USA was one of them. I remember
Oh.
back when
that was
on
an
the arcade
arcade
was even-
staple.
and promoting this thing coming out on the Nintendo
Yeah.
Ultra
Ultra
64.
Yep.
You guys remember that, right?
Yes, I
Oh,
do.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Nope, I can't.
I don't know how
Classic.
many
That's
times
an
I
arc-
sung.
Talk about arcade classics. It was in almost every arcade
So-
at one point.
So
Yeah.
I have another quick little story time.
Oh.
Cruising USA
Yeah.
was actually the very first video game I remember playing.
Oh really?
Oh, here we go. I'm glad I brought this now.
Arcade.
Alright.
It was the arcade cabinet. I was about 3 years old,
Nice.
and if you guys remember the Tam O'Shanter skating rink over
Yes,
in
I-
Pennsylvania,
Yes.
you'll remember they used to have
They
an
did.
arcade.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did.
Cruising USA was one of the cabinets in that arcade,
Yeah, I
and
remember that, yep.
at about 3-4 years old, you know, my brain is look at the racing game. and my once again, my dad was like, "You want to play?" I'm like, "Yeah." So obviously, I'm too short to reach the pedals right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
my dad sits in the seat. I'm sitting on his lap. He's working the pedals
Yeah.
while we're steering
Doing
together.
steering, yeah.
And that is the first time in my conscious memory that I can actually remember playing a video game, and it was Cruising USA.
I have a
And-
question, and since you're mentioning that, did you get first place for that?
No. I think we finished like third.
That was a tough game to get first place in.
Well,
But-
for the arcades, yeah.
But our vehicle of choice, and afterwards it became my vehicle of choice every time I play Cruising USA, without fail.
The red one.
No. Every time I play Cruising USA, I pick automatic transmission because I'm a noob like that.
Yeah.
But I always drive as the gold 63 split window Corvette.
Yes.
That is my car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was either that one or the red one.
I
Red
for,
one's cool.
well, aside from the four main cars, if you push the A1 view buttons, you can also change your vehicle.
Yep.
My preferred choice when I change it, the Jeep.
Yeah.
And then and then it had one of my favorite racks to play on was the redwoods, driving through the redwoods.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
But then of course every time I played in the arcade, I always do Race Across the World because why not?
Right. I think
Which-
my favorite track was definitely the Mojave Desert.
And you
Death
always
Valley for me, primarily because that train you gotta race
Yeah,
through,
Death
which is
Valley
right
one
before
was
the
cool.
finish.
I mean, but we all know the coolest level in that game period was Washington, driving through the
the
money
final
bridge,
level,
driving
which-
through the money bridge.
See,
yeah, which you can only play through in a race across the whole U.S. thing.
Yep. And if
See-
you manage to get all the way to the end, you get to see Bill Clinton on the White House.
see, I'm like 90% sure.
In a
I
hot tub surrounded by bikini-clad models.
Because
it
of
was-
course.
Because
It
it
was
was
Bill Jeff.
Because it was the 90s, and we could get away with stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yes.
then.
Yep.
In the arcades. However, though, I don't know about the console very much, but
He got- no,
for
he
a
was-
fun little fact for those who don't know, in the arcade version, if you got first place, you're greeted with a woman in a bikini holding a trophy.
Yep.
Yep.
While in the Nintendo 64 version, sadly, they had to censor that by putting a shirt over her.
Boom.
Yeah.
Lame.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, however, though,
And also,
One-
the dollar
one thing
bills
the
had
arc-
Hillary's face on them.
one thing about the arcade, aside from the Nintendo 64 version, console version, you have to finish first place on to progress anywhere. Otherwise,
wow.
forget it.
Now, if we're going to talk about fun cars used in Cruising World, my personal favorite was the Humvee. Why?
The Humvee is hysterical.
Because it had the gun.
That's the best thing about
They
that
had
a
them.
car.
At halftime, it didn't do anything, but it was just fun to hit the start button and shoot the gun.
Not to mention, and just slam on the pedal twice to do a wheelie in the back.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Or if you're turning your car hard, you push that thing so you're driving on two wheels on the side.
Yep.
Right. Of course, I actually when it comes to Cruising World, I always preferred the Dodge Viper, the yellow one with the green stripes.
It's been a long
I
time
like
since I've
the
seen the cars in Cruising World. I
like the
can't
Viper.
really remember.
I like the Viper.
But if I had to say my favorite,
No.
one or two of my favorite levels, it was either Hawaii for me or Moscow. Now you might be wondering why Moscow. Well, if anyone's playing that for the first time, they're not gonna know you gotta turn left at a certain moment, otherwise you're gonna crash.
I'm
I
sorry.
love springing that on people who don't know.
I'm sorry. I have to say, Moscow, Moscow.
Something about something and something else. I don't know what he says.
Yep.
Anyway, and then we're gonna talk about other fun arcade racing times in back in my dentist office over there on Sylvania, the one with the beaver out front.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was a squirrel.
I don't know. It looked like a
See,
beaver.
I thought it was a squirrel too till he told me it was a beaver. I was like, I kind of see it.
It looks.
I mean, it makes sense because the beaver teeth. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Well,
yeah.
that was my dentist as a kid. That's where I first.
Oh wait, no.
cruising.
Actually, I remember. Someone actually did tell me it's a chipmunk.
Really?
Yeah.
The tail looks like a beaver tail, though.
Yeah,
It does
but
look like a beaver
if
tail.
it-
Plus, you think beaver, they have the big
buck
teeth.
teeth.
Yeah, I know, but like, I met someone who actually worked there, and they're like, "It's a chipmunk." I'm like, "But
okay.
why does it have like a beaver tail?" Yeah, and they're like,
But why does it have a beaver tail
I
and
think that
buck
person.
teeth?
I actually think that person's wrong.
"They used to work there." That's all I know.
Just because they work there doesn't mean they're right.
Oh
Yeah.
no, by no means am I saying they are, but I'm saying
Anyway,
that's
Some people can be
But
right,
no,
some people can be wrong, whatever.
I remember going in there.
Well,
always-
actually-
their little arcade. They had good selections in that place.
Actually, no. To go off what Chris said, on some people can be right, some people are wrong. The guy who invented GIF calls it GIF.
And he is wrong.
He is wrong. You are correct there.
As Samuel Jackson once said, I accept that the council has made a decision. However, since it is a stupid decision, I have elected to ignore it.
Yep.
Anyway, yes, that dentist office had some good arcade selections in there.
You know what the funny
It did
thing
have cruising in there. Oh, yes.
You know what the funny thing is?
Mhm.
That actually used to be my brother's dentist when he was a kid.
Same
Oh,
with me.
really?
Nice.
I used to go to the same building, but not for the dentist. I had my allergist, Dr. Winder's office, was actually in the bottom of that building, in the basement area. So I am familiar with that building, yes.
Yeah, right there next by the Chevrolet.
Yeah.
On a
Yep.
related note for me, my mom had an orthodontist, or what is it for the teeth?
Orthodontist?
Yes, orthodontist.
Because there's dentist and orthodontist.
Yeah.
There's a
She had
difference.
She had an orthodontist when I was younger because she had braces, like in her early 20s. But yeah, I remember they had a Sega Genesis machine there. It was over by the Franklin Park Mall, if you guys know where that's at. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did you ever see like that Sonic the Hedgehog on the billboard up there?
Yeah.
It was that place right there.
Okay.
And
Alright.
apparently, my mom said they still have the machine the last time she
Nice.
was in there.
Oh, no kidding.
Nice.
It was a
Well,
while
and
back,
then,
so.
well, one of my favorite things to play and fart around with back in that dentist office, besides the Play Choice 10 machine, playing
And
track
besides
and
the water slide.
haha, no, Play Choice 10 with track and field. They had one in there called Pole Position. That
I'm not familiar with that one.
oh, that is if I remember, it wasn't like your average stock car looking. They
No,
looked
it
like
was,
Formula
it, was,
cars.
it was
Yeah,
Formula
it was
One
Formula.
cars, yeah.
But the most, it was like they had the cool. But the most thing I remember always before every race, all you heard was.
Yeah.
That's literally what it sounded like.
It sounded like nothing, but it was
Like if you
sounded
did,
like
and but
everything.
luckily it had the little blip going around. Otherwise, you wouldn't know what the heck it was saying.
Yeah.
Well, it's supposed to imitate, the team radio transmissions,
Yeah.
which if you ever look at racing footage from those days and you listen to the team audio, the radio actually does sound that garbled.
It was
But
80s, so.
it was cool. It was a cool, simple controls. It was actually stand up. It wasn't a sit down.
Right.
The special ones had the sit down, but most of it was just stand up. You had the pedals down there,
Yep.
one wheel, and then high low.
Yeah.
That was it. That's all you needed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All that was required.
Yeah, back in those weird days, it actually was this weird case of art imitating life, where back in those days, for a lot of open wheel cars, so the Formula racers and the Indy cars, was only a 2-speed transmission. You had
High
cruising,
and low,
you
yeah.
had cruising gear, and then you had what was called racing gear, so high and low.
Yeah.
And that was the weird part. It's like if you wanted to save fuel, you had to be in low, so it cut your horsepower, but you were able to save fuel. But when it was time to go, it was time to go.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
And then that just made me think of probably one of the only racing games specifically I can remember on the NES. Excite Bike.
A good classic that
That,
everyone remembers.
that technically
It's
wasn't.
it's motocross.
Motocross.
Now, I may not have
Racing
played
and
it, but at
time-
least know of it.
It's racing and time trials.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was,
What's it called? But really quick, Chris, what are your top couple racing games?
My top couple of racing games? Well,
Yeah.
obviously Mario Kart are for one of them.
Which one?
I'd have to say currently Mario Kart 8, probably because that's the best game I can control it with.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is hands down the best controls of them all.
But-
It's
Yeah.
But best one conceptually is Double Dash.
Oh yeah, no. Hashtag bring back Double Dash.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag
Bring back Double Dash.
Hashtag bring back Double
Why
Dash.
not?
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, it was all right.
After playing Double Dash, I can concur with this.
Oh yeah.
Like bring
Like-
back Double Dash with 8 controls.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be so fucking good. No, like besides Mario Kart, what else would you go with?
Ooh.
I'll always love Carmageddon, that's for sure. And honestly, after we played it a couple weeks ago, you can never go wrong with Dragon Ball Kart Z.
That fan-made game, yes.
It's a pleasure.
I destroyed all
You know-
of you in that
You
game.
did.
You.
We should play
oh.
some of this after we're done recording.
I'm
You
down.
were
But
there
first,
when we did
we're
that,
gonna
Chris.
play that other game you have right here.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's bring that
Hey,
up.
Well,
real
actually,
quick.
no. I still gotta bring up my
Yes.
Yeah.
another.
We're gonna go
okay,
through
I'll
our
say
little-
Diddy Kong Racing because that's the only other game I love.
We're gonna go
back
through our
then.
racing games, then we'll get to that.
And for now, you know what? Heck with it. Because I played this game a lot as a kid. I had the Cruising series
Cruising,
right here.
yeah.
This
Cruising
I got a good
USA.
amount of fond memories with the. That's
Who
one
doesn't
playing
have fond memories with Cruising USA?
Right?
Communists.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean,
Or,
yeah.
you know,
That
people
goes
just
without
play the
saying.
game.
Because like back in the days, you couldn't go into an arcade without that in there. It was
Or-
very-
Especially when you
Well-
hear the dang theme song
Well,
for this game.
Yeah.
Specifically, specifically, there was a time where you couldn't go to an arcade without any midway racing game.
That's
There was
true,
always
yeah.
at least one, whether it was
like a
one,
staple.
whether it was one of the Cruising series, Hydro Thunder,
Rush.
Off-Road Challenge, San Francisco Rush, any of the Rush games. So
Yeah.
Rush the Rock,
True.
Rush 2049.
Yep.
Which, my God, do you realize that we might actually live to see the year 2049?
Holy
Yeah.
As a kid, you thought it was so far in the future,
Yeah.
and then you realize, wait a
We're gonna be
minute.
just old.
Wait a minute, we're already in the 2020s now.
I think
2049 really isn't that far
Just
away.
give it
No, it's
20
not.
more years.
Honestly, I think my favorite Rush is Tom Sawyer.
Yeah.
Ah,
For me,
I will, I will,
Spears.
I will see your Tom Sawyer and raise you the spirit of radio.
That's a good one.
I
I'll
will-
give you that.
I will fight anybody who does not like the
living
spirit
on
of
a
radio.
lighted stage.
Limelight, another great
But yeah,
one.
no.
May not have vocals, but how about YYZ, or is that not
Yep.
Rush?
Yes, that is
That
Rush.
is
And-
indeed
and
Rush.
the fun story about that, I actually learned what YYZ is supposed to be.
2112 guys?
We'll get there.
What YYZ is actually supposed to be, why those 3 letters, that is actually the radio call sign code for Toronto International Airport.
Oh.
So the whole piece of music and all of its different movements is supposed to be a busy airport.
Huh?
It's supposed,
I did not know that.
Specifically, a busy airport at nighttime.
Huh?
Yeah.
So that is
a
the whole
different
concept
perspective
behind
You have been
YYZ.
learned, everyone.
Yeah.
That's the whole concept
Well,
behind
then.
YYZ.
I have learned something today.
Yes.
Yeah, me
I will.
too.
I will forget about it tomorrow, but I learned something
I
today.
mean, yeah,
You know,
I
it's
mean,
almost kind of funny. The songs we just mentioned, including yours, Grant,
Yeah.
have almost been on Guitar Hero or Rock Band.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
That's
Yeah.
the fun
YYZ
fact about
was
that.
in
I
the
mean,
story.
we're talking about old games in the basement. Of course, it's gonna be on a game.
YYZ
Exactly.
Specifically, YYZ was
Guitar Hero 2.
2.
Yep.
It was the penultimate song before Freebird.
Tom Sawyer was Rock Band 1.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
it was. And 2112 was 5.
Yeah.
Not
Guitar Hero,
exactly.
and then-
The whole album was Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, the
Okay.
6th game.
Wow.
And then Limelight and Closer to the Heart are on Rock Band
2.
3
One of
or
the
And Spirit of the Radio was on 5.
Spirit of Radio's on 5.
Okay.
I mean-
what's it called? But no, like my couple of racing games though. Again, Carmageddon, because it's just so brutal, and you can't go wrong with it. I love playing the main red car because I love that blade down the middle. I always thought it was so cool. South Park Rally, fight me. Let's see here. Project Gotham. I love the cars in there, especially the Viper. Oh yeah, no, it was like,
That was one of your more
original Xbox.
That was
Yeah,
more
yeah.
of your series
Yeah.
like on par with like Gran Turismo or
Yeah.
Forza.
Yeah,
Right.
no, like every time there was a new Xbox console, there was a Project Gotham that came with it, and I'm like, given I stopped after like 360, but like if I was to keep getting Xboxes, I'd always get a Project Gotham because they always had a great soundtrack, but I just loved the cars a lot. I suck at racing games, but I love those cars.
Right.
But the Viper in the first Project Gotham was my favorite of all. Let's see here. Dragon Ball Kart Z.
Let's just go with official games
Yep.
just for a moment.
Yeah. So
And-
Mario Kart 64 then?
You can't go wrong. Mario Kart 64, no, not so much. But I do love Mario Kart 8 Deluxe especially.
Oh yeah.
Mario Kart 6, I think I enjoy quite a bit.
There's not a.
Well,
six
technically,
officially. That
well,
would be a
it
Wii.
wouldn't be named under 6, but
Yeah.
it's tough to say which one that one is.
Double
mean,
Dash should
Wii, I
technically
think.
be 6
Yeah, yeah,
because Mario Kart for the Wii was 7.
yeah.
Well, no. Mario Kart 7 on 3DS was 7.
yeah, actually,
Yeah.
he's
And then there was
right.
the DS one as well. So I think it was actually the DS one came out before the Wii one.
I have no
Whatever.
idea.
But, yeah, either way, there's a lot
Yeah,
of them. So.
either way. But then one of my all-time favorite
look it
racing
up.
games.
We'll look it up later.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're probably gonna have to edit this out, otherwise we're gonna get copyrighted, right?
That's probably.
Oh yeah, no, like we'll definitely edit that out. But I just had to say it. So, it's Sonic R, everyone.
Yeah. I don't say it's so muffled you probably couldn't even make it out.
Yeah, Sonic R is a good game.
I'll probably keep it
Yeah.
clip in there.
We'll find out. We'll find out
We'll find
later.
out if worst comes to worst.
If we get copyright.
I can always re-upload the video.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
that's the worst thing that could happen. Is
And
just
remember,
be
we
a
can say
re-upload.
from serious racing games to the silly, wacky ones.
Yeah,
Because there's
No,
a lot of those.
Like I just like Sonic R. I always love because that soundtrack is fire.
Yeah, the
Yes,
soundtrack's
it
amazing.
is.
The game itself is.
Depending on the version you're playing, can be pretty jank.
Honestly,
Like a CD version.
if they remade it from the ground up, kept everything essentially the same, but just made the gameplay better,
A remaster version, I would love that.
Oh, it'd be so fucking good, and I would gladly pay the money for that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Kelly.
Kelly,
So-
what are your top, 3?
Yeah, we'll go with top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So top 3 racing games, 2 of which actually all 3 of them are ones that we've already mentioned. So
Yeah.
Hydro Thunder,
Yeah.
Yep.
Star Wars Episode 1 Racer,
Yeah.
and NASCAR Thunder 2004.
Okay.
Now, I will say this before we move on. One last quick little sidebar.
Mhm.
I forget, I want to say it's one of the Forza games. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on this, anyone.
Yeah.
But I distinctly remember playing, I want to say it was one of the Forza games, where you could unlock a bunch of different cars, right?
Yeah.
One of the cars, and I'm a history nerd as much as I am a racing nerd and just a nerd in general. One of the cars that you could unlock in this game happened to be an old school Indy racer.
Something
not-
Gran Turismo.
But not just, it could be Gran Turismo, but not just any Indy racer. It just happened to be the car that AJ Foyt used to win his record-setting 4th Indy 500 back in 1977.
Oh, interesting.
And you could play as this thing.
Yeah.
I destroyed everyone.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like Gran Turismo.
But maybe it was Gran Turismo, but yeah, as soon as I saw that you could play as that car, I'm just like, ha ha ha, y'all gonna die. I'm gonna get you. You ain't gonna beat me now. I got you. So yeah, those are probably my top racing games right there.
Yeah.
What about you, Ross? What would your
Oh,
top
I
3
mean,
be?
gotta go with Hydro Thunder.
Yep.
Played that game many, many times. The game that encouraged you to play it more to get everything in it and
Yeah.
learn skills.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had anyway, because the ships just look cool.
Yeah, that was a fun
And they
game.
had some dope names too.
Rat
Yeah.
Hazard,
Banshee,
Tidal Wave, Tidal Blade.
Tidal Blade, Thresher.
Yep.
Plus, you gotta love the announcer when they're actually saying this stuff, too.
Yeah.
We did.
Like
If
duck.
we're gonna talk about games that had really fun announcers, Wave Race 64. We forgot about that one.
I've only seen it in a couple times being played in front of me, but I
that
never
was
played
just
it
an announcer that was
myself.
like really loud and boisterous as you did shit. But that was also the game that had this secret where if you mess with like this audio file,
I think I know what you're talking
yes,
about.
if you like, there was a little code you could do. You had to mess with like one of the audio files, like the in-game menu. The announcer would make fun of you
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
and just sound like he did not give a tire crap, like he was checked out. But yeah, that was just a brief mention. of
That would actually be fun. A racing game where the commentators are actively heckling.
Yeah.
Oh,
One racing.
jeez.
Oh man, look at him taking that left-hand turn. My grandma could do a better one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Hydro Thunder, CTR for sure, the PlayStation
Oh
one.
yeah, I almost forgot about
Crash
that.
Team Racing.
Yeah.
We talked about that. I think you were out of the room at that point.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's when I was gone.
yeah, that was well. No, you weren't gone. You were just quiet.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just very
you was
quiet
quiet.
for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then Burnout 3.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because I played the heck out of that one.
What about you, Grant? Your top few?
Well, I think we'll end this episode with my top 3. Let's see.
Actually, well, we do have another game to talk about.
After you give your top 3.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll go over the last game too.
Yep.
Well, you say your top 3, then we'll go over that. And
That's what I mean. Yep. But
Yep.
anyway, top 3. Well, I do like Diddy Kong Racing a lot.
Can't go wrong
Yes.
with
I think I'd probably put that on the top 3 somewhere, but I do like Outrun a lot. I don't know if we really
Ooh.
talked about that too much. It's less of a racing game and more of a race the clock type game. You're just trying to just get to the end within a certain time, and you're not actively racing anybody except yourself, which is kind of interesting.
Not bad.
It's almost like a philosophical thing. You're trying to just race yourself, trying to get to the end.
Grant.
Before you go on too
Grant.
long, let's go on to the next
stop
one.
you right. We're gonna stop you right there.
It's a racing game. There's no need to get deep.
I mean, it's really not.
Okay.
I actually no. There's sometimes when Grant goes really deep on something that doesn't even have that deep meaning whatsoever.
Yeah, it's happened. Like that one time, like 3 years ago. Remember that?
Oh no, you did something like a couple months ago when we were hanging
I
out.
know.
Man, like I forget what we were talking about, but it's like, bro, where'd you come up with
How
that?
did you come up with that from Barbie Princess Racing?
I was gonna say something involving Patrick Star,
if we're
but
gonna talk
okay.
about racing games, Action Girls, that game.
Nah, that's.
We're gonna leave.
But anyway,
if you've seen it,
We gotta wrap this thing up. So
I'm just saying, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about.
so yes,
reeling it back.
Go in the back
reeling
in.
it back in.
All right, so
So I'd probably say those two, as well as let's see, a third one that was a lot of fun for me was. Putting me on the spot here, guys.
yes, that's the point.
That's
good.
good.
the point.
Good.
That's the problem when we can't really think of it on the spot.
Just
Mario
pick
Kart
one.
8 Deluxe is pretty excellent, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about the upcoming wave of DLC.
Oh yes,
yeah.
almost forgot about that
all,
one for a
all
minute.
the new tracks.
Yeah.
All those new tracks.
I'm about to buy
they're
those
not
tracks.
New, they're like
Old.
They're
Remastered.
new for old.
They're remixes of old favorites.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's gonna be 48 of them for $25. I mean, that's kind of an insane
That's a deal.
I'm
Which-
just surprised that there
Buying
was that
it.
many old tracks that they could go back to.
There's definitely
Yeah.
that many.
There
I
is a
mean,
good amount.
I'm wondering which ones they're not putting in though. That's
We'll
gonna
find
be-
out.
Well, the question is, okay, since it's brought up with that DLC of Mario Kart's past that all of us have played, what would you like to see come back?
Donut Plains.
Let's see. Moo Moo Meadows. Was Moo Moo Meadows?
Moo Moo
in there?
Meadows is in there.
Yeah,
Moo
I
Meadows
thought it
in there.
was.
Actually, a Wii version technically is in
Yeah.
there.
Donut Plains with the moles popping up out of the ground.
If there is any more, I don't want to see any more Rainbow Roads because there's already what 3 of them.
Actually,
Oh, there's so
I'd love
many
it for
Rainbow
two more Rainbow
There's
Roads
so
to
many
come
ra-
back.
there's so
Well,
Well, I mean, it's a
Okay.
Mario Kart staple.
Honestly,
Was
to
the
be-
Luigi's Mansion stage in there?
I don't think
Bowser was. I don't think there was
Bowser's
Luigi.
I
Castle.
thought we've got
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion in there already.
Twisted Mansion and a
Yeah.
Boo stage is in there. I don't technically know if we call it
Oh, so-
Luigi's Mansion,
No.
I'm trying to
I mean,
remember.
but
not
although
strictly
technically,
Ghost Valley.
although technically it was brought back for the Wii version, and I'd love it if Bowser's Castle in 64 made a comeback.
With the
Or the
guy-
SNES one.
Yeah.
Either one would work.
Because Bowser Castle, that's a good test of skills right there.
Right. What's the
Yes.
one where you drive on the boardwalk in the N64 version?
Oh,
yeah.
Banshee Boardwalk.
Banshee
I
Boardwalk.
heard this. In fact, I
Okay,
was just actually
wait.
streaming Mario Kart 64 a couple days, actually 2 weeks ago.
I-
Oh, and
but-
jeez.
But think about it. With updated graphics, it might actually be a little bit easier.
It might be.
Yes.
But also, really quick, I want to go back to favorite Mario Kart games, what I said earlier. So I got mixed up. Not Mario Kart 6, because Mario Kart 6 was Mario Kart Wii.
Yep.
I'm in Mario Kart 4. That was Double Dash.
Yep.
Ah.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yep. Okay. I'm sorry. Continue, because I'm on the list of all the Mario
So
Kart.
what was
you.
it between 64 and Double Dash then?
That'd probably be
or no.
advanced, I think.
That's Mario Kart Super Circuit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see
But
here.
anyway.
Yeah, because it goes Super Mario.
6 would have been the DS one, right?
No, that was
so
not.
6 was
no,
Wii.
it's.
Well, no, 3DS was 7.
I'm looking right now. So it's Super Mario Kart. That's one.
Yep.
Mario Kart 64.
Yep.
Mario Kart Super Circuit.
Check.
Mario Kart Double Dash.
Check.
Mario Kart DS.
Yep.
Check.
Mario Kart Wii.
Check.
Mario Kart 7.
Check.
And then 8. And then 8 Deluxe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
There, okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
so to wrap this up, we have one last little
Okay.
goodie for y'all.
Now
Yeah.
this is a game I discovered. I remember this because back in my day when I was just a wee little laddie.
And back in the day when they actually published video game commercials.
Oh,
Yeah.
little game called the Uniracers.
Hold it up to the camera.
There
I
it
shall.
is.
Now, what is this game, Ross? Since we both
Oh,
have
that
played
is.
it?
Sounds
Talk
like
about your wacky racing games. It was basically you controlled unicycles across, like, think how Sonic Loop-de-Loops and all that. That was your race course.
Oh, yeah.
And basically, that was the entire game. And you started off with characters like Bronzin, your low level, because it was usually just one-on-one. Bronzin, Sylvia, I forget the name of the gold one. But you increased the difficulty, and the tracks increased in difficulty. And good lord, if you did not know what you were doing with these controls, you were done.
Aside from racing left or right, you can also perform tricks like in these
Yes.
side courses to go faster. And there's also some platforms during these courses where if you're stupid enough to jump on some of the stuff, you're being flung back a little bit until you just go off normally.
It was a
Which
very
you'll see
sim-
why when we play this game.
Yeah, I've
Oh,
never
yeah.
played it. We're doing that immediately after this?
Yes.
A little bit.
Oh yeah.
I was streaming this a little bit on my Twitch, and I can only get up to so far because apparently, in order for me to unlock the last couple of places, I got to get silver medals on the courses, and I only got bronzes at the moment. But the one thing I love about this game, it's soundtrack. Oh my god. It's like, this is on a Super Nintendo game? Are you kidding me?
Pretty crazy soundtrack.
I'd say for next week's topics we've mentioned a lot, we should talk about next time arcade cabinets.
I figured we talk about puzzles next time.
Yeah, I think next
Puzzles
time,
and arcade cabinets.
episode 4 will be puzzles.
Yeah, we'll do puzzles next
Episode
time.
3 will be puzzles.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I guess
Next
we're not-
episode.
I guess we're not counting the pilot as episode 1.
That's
No,
going to be a
That's
Patreon thing.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
episode 0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Puzzles, and then after that, arcade cabinets.
Exactly.
All right.
That's what we were going
So
with.
to send us out, Ross, even though we might get copyrighted for this,
Screw it. We talked about it earlier.
Yep.
and we'll see you all next time.
Good night,
Bye.
everyone, and thanks for stopping
Yep.
by.
Hey, take care, everyone.
And
Love
remember,
you.
the power is yours.